Long before Goku was born beneath the red skies of planet Vegeta, before Beerus opened his eyes to the weight of destruction, and before Zeno learned to play with universes like drifting petals, there was a silence, older than time. In that silence lived a single presence, not a queen, not a god, but an origin. She was the tremor that shook nothingness into existence, the quiet heartbeat from which every key signature was carved. And when she exhaled her first breath, light and shadow parted ways. Destinies crystallized. Time began moving toward a future it could not understand. Somewhere within that eternal breath existed a forgotten spark, a hidden form more ancient than ultra instinct, more refined than any divine aura the angels had ever mastered. It was a color beyond mortal vocabulary, a harmony of instinct and resolve. A whisper said it was called Golden Instinct 3, a transformation abandoned by history because even gods were not meant to wield it. Yet fate is drawn to anomalies, and Goku, in his earnest hunger for growth, had always been an anomaly the cosmos could not predict. One day, his path would cross the truth of that breath, and the universe would remember its mother. Before we step into this alternate destiny, this myth carried on the edge of untold light, remember to stay close to this journey so our timeline does not fade into the quiet where forgotten universes sleep. The arena was already breaking apart when Goku felt it for the first time, a tremor, faint as a memory, sharp as a prophecy. Chunks of shattered platforms floated in a void of suspended dust, each granule glittering with the echo of a universe praying for its survival. Jiren's fist cut through the air, a strike so deliberate it seemed sculpted from silence itself, and Goku reacted on instinct, sliding beneath the blow as sparks of divine ki skittered across his skin. But then it happened. A warmth, not born from battle, pulsed behind his heartbeat. It did not belong to the moment. It did not belong to him. It was older. His foot touched nothingness for half a second too long, a pause unthinkable for someone fighting for the survival of reality. Jiren noticed. In that fraction of hesitation, the Pride Trooper's eyes narrowed, sensing an opening where there should have been none. "You falter," Jiren said, voice quiet, as though disappointed rather than triumphant. Goku barely heard him. The warmth lingered, curling through his chest like a whisper pressed against the inside of his soul. Then, as suddenly as it came, it dissolved into the chaos around him, leaving behind a strange ache. Not pain, but a longing he did not understand. He shook it off and charged again, energy crackling like a storm ready to break. Yet the moment haunted him. Even as he moved, dodged, countered, pushing Ultra Instinct's incomplete glow towards its peak, part of him waited for that warmth to return. That was the problem. Whis noticed immediately. The angel's eyes followed Goku not with the calm amusement he usually carried, but with a fragile stillness, the kind that hides knowledge too dangerous to speak aloud. His staff hummed softly beside him, a sympathetic vibration that made Vados look over, suspicion tightening her expression. "What is it?" she murmured. Whis didn't answer. His gaze remained on Goku, tracing the faint shimmer that pulsed beneath the Saiyan's movements, a shimmer that did not belong to Ultra Instinct or to any divine state known to the angels. "Impossible," Whis whispered, too quiet for Beerus to hear. On the arena floor, Goku felt the tremor again, fleeting like a hand brushing the edge of his awareness. The sensation pulled his attention upward, past Jiren, past the fractured arena, past the roaring universes and silent gods. Something was watching him. Not with intent, not with malice, but with remembrance. The feeling rattled him. Goku had always been sensitive to ki, even as a child. He understood power through emotion, through resonance. But this presence, it did not carry ki. It carried something deeper, something beneath Ki, older than any divine energy he had ever encountered. "Focus!" Jiren thundered, and the world snapped back as a blast of fiery power hurled Goku across the arena. He skidded to the edge, gravel disintegrating beneath his fingers as he caught himself. Sweat stung his eyes, his chest heaved. And yet, even with the weight of the universes pressing against him, the warmth under his heartbeat did not fade entirely. It waited, as if patient, as if certain he would return to it. Goku didn't understand. He didn't have time to. But the sensation left a ghost in his thoughts, a feeling that someone, somewhere, had opened their eyes at the exact moment he felt that warmth. Someone ancient, someone who had been sleeping long before angels learned to smile and gods learned to fear. Jiren advanced, his red aura tightening like a vice. Goku lifted his head, wiped the blood from his mouth, and rose, refusing to yield. No matter what echoed in his soul, he was still Goku. He would fight, he would rise, he would push forward. But in the space between heartbeats, he wondered, why now? Why me? And what was that warmth? The arena shook under the force of Jiren's next strike, and Goku launched himself back into the storm. Yet between each clash, between each desperate surge of ki, the warmth pulsed again, softer now, like a calling he could almost understand. And far beyond the arena, beyond the universes, beyond the angels and the palace of Zeno himself, a presence stirred. Her eyelids fluttered open for the first time in an age, and the light behind them was soft, sorrowful, and endless. "He hears me," she whispered, and the void around her trembled, as though creation itself remembered a name it had tried to forget. The battle raged on, but the thread had moved, and nothing in existence could undo it now. The tournament of power spiraled deeper into chaos as fighters fell one by one, erased into the quiet beyond sight. Yet amid the collapsing platforms and roaring energies, Goku felt more detached from the arena than ever before. Every breath carried a faint echo of that warmth, an echo that slowly shifted from a whisper to a hum, vibrating low within the ribs of his spirit. For most warriors, distraction meant defeat. For Goku, distraction meant transformation. But this time, even he was uneasy. He tore through a barrage of Jiren's blows, each movement instinctual, precise, flowing with the rhythm Ultra Instinct demanded. His body swayed and danced through destruction like a leaf caught in divine wind. But even this state, the closest he had ever come to pure transcendence, felt muted compared to the mysterious pulse in his chest. He didn't know why, but it frightened him. Not like a threat, more like a truth. Jiren's aura deepened, swelling like a star collapsing inward. "Your heart wavers," he said quietly. "Even now, with all creation at stake, something else calls to you." Goku didn't respond. Words weren't useful in this place. Instead, he let instinct guide him. His silver aura flared, bright enough to cut the void. Their fists collided, sending waves of ruptured force into the fractured realm. But as their powers clashed, Goku felt the warmth again, blooming behind the impact like a second heartbeat layered beneath his own. This time, he saw something, not with his eyes, with the space behind them. A silhouette, a woman made of light and shadow intertwined, standing beside a horizon older than time. He lost the image as quickly as it came, the moment shattered by Jiren's crushing counterattack. Goku flipped backward, boots skidding across a splintered platform. "What was that?" he murmured under his breath. Whis heard every word. The angel's expression shifted, not in shock, but in dread. He had known this was possible for only one being, and she was not one they were meant to speak of. Beerus glanced at Whis, hearing the shift in the angel's silence. "What are you hiding?" the god of destruction demanded in a low whisper. Whis didn't answer. His staff pulsed with a faint glow, like a warning, like a plea. On the battlefield, Jiren thrust forward with a punishing strike. Goku met it with trembling arms, the collision sending agonizing pressure through his bones. Not even Ultra Instinct's effortless flow could fully compensate. The warmth in his chest surged defiantly, as if refusing to be overshadowed. Goku staggered back, breathing hard. For the first time, he sensed that the warmth had weight, that it wasn't merely sensation. It was attention. Someone, something, was watching him with impossible tenderness. "Who are you?" he whispered inwardly, almost in prayer. No answer came, not yet. But the hum in his spirit deepened into a resonance that spread through his limbs, making his aura flicker with streaks of gold not born from Super Saiyan's fury, but from something gentler, something purer. The gods watching from above leaned forward. So did the Grand Priest, whose eyes narrowed with an emotion he rarely displayed: concern. "That light," he murmured to himself. "It cannot be. That seal should not stir."
Zeno blinked, oblivious to the tension, kicking his legs as though the universe's fate were a game of marbles. To him, everything was a creation, everything was an end. Nothing more, nothing less. But the Grand Priest felt the tremor, and tremors had meaning. Goku steadied himself, his muscles quivered, his breath felt too small for the vastness pressing in on him. Jiren approached slowly, each footstep radiating power, but Goku's attention drifted again, not away from the fight, but toward the unseen horizon in his soul. A whisper brushed his awareness, softer than starlight. "Do not fear the thread you follow." His heart lurched, his aura flared violently, silver fracturing into streaks of white gold. For an instant, the entire arena froze, not physically, but spiritually, as if all of existence inhaled at once. "What is that power?" Toppo gasped. "It is not power," Whis whispered. "It is memory." Goku blinked rapidly, grounding himself, breath ragged. The warmth receded, gentler this time, like a hand withdrawing to avoid overwhelming him, but its presence remained, pulsing quietly, faithfully. Jiren clenched his fists. "Whatever force you chase, abandon it. Your resolve wavers. You will fall." Goku raised his eyes, not with defiance, but with wonder. "Something's calling me, and I think it's been calling me for a long time." He didn't know that far beyond the tournament, beyond divine reach, a woman wrapped in primordial light watched him with a faint smile, one of recognition, not discovery. "I hear you, Son Goku. At last," she whispered into the fabric of creation. The warmth pulsed again. Goku steadied his stance. The battle resumed, but nothing was the same, because the thread had moved, and the cosmos had begun to remember. Goku had never been good with mysteries. When something confused him, he hid it, chased it, or laughed it off. But this was different. He couldn't punch a warmth inside his chest. He couldn't outrun a presence that lived behind his heartbeat. He couldn't pretend that nothing was happening, not when every clash with Jiren made the invisible resonance stronger. The arena's edges glowed faintly, the remains of platforms floating like fractured halos. Debris drifted slowly, spinning in the void, each piece marked by scars of battles already lost. Fighters from other universes watched in silence, their hopes and fears tied to the erratic rhythm of Goku's breath. He shifted into his stance again, silver eyes fixed on Jiren. Ultra instinct shimmered around him, a translucent aura of moonlight and storm. But now, threaded through that sacred glow, were flickers of something else, barely visible. A soft gold, not sharp and burning like Super Saiyan, but warm, like sunrise behind closed eyes. Jiren saw it. The Grand Priest saw it. Whis could not ignore it any longer. "Whis," Barris growled, voice low. "What is this? He's not just using Ultra Instinct, is he?" Whis hesitated, a rare crack in his perfect composure. "No, Lord Beerus. Something older has noticed him." Beerus's eyes narrowed. "Older than what?" Whis' fingers tightened around his staff. Older than us. On the battlefield, Jiren stepped forward, his gaze sharpened to a razor's edge. You draw upon a power you cannot control. You chase an echo that does not belong to mortals. Goku shook his head, wiping sweat from his brow, his chest still heaving. I don't know what it is, he admitted, honest, even now, even here. But it's not just power. It feels like someone. He didn't understand why saying it out loud made the warmth swell with quiet affirmation.
Jiren's aura erupted, crimson flaring like a dying star raging at the universe that refused to break. Then you are a fool. His voice dropped to a growl. Power without understanding breeds ruin. Goku smiled faintly, despite the pain, despite the fear. Maybe, but I've come this far by trusting my gut, my heart, and right now, both are telling me to keep going. Jiren's expression hardened into something close to sorrow. For a brief instant, Goku thought he saw an echo of himself in those eyes, a man who once believed in something beyond strength, before loss turned the universe into a battlefield. Their auras collided before their bodies did, silver and crimson crashing in a spiral of blinding light. The impact tore the air apart, ripping lines of pressure through the void. Fragments of the arena disintegrated into dust. Time seemed to stutter, frames skipping between each strike. With each blow, the warmth thrummed louder, not like a separate power, but like an invisible rhythm syncing with Goku's movements. His dodges grew smoother, his counters more inevitable, as if he were not reacting, but arriving exactly where he was meant to be. You move closer. The whisper drifted through him, airy and distant, yet intimate, like a memory of a voice he had never heard. Goku's heart lurched. His steps faltered for a fraction of a second. Jiren capitalized instantly, slamming a punch into his ribs that sent Goku hurling across the void. Pain exploded through his side. The world blurred. The stands, the gods, the shattered stone, everything smeared into light and motion. He crashed onto a fragment of arena, the impact cracking it in two. His body screamed in protest. Silver light flickered, threatening to collapse. His muscles trembled on the edge of failure. He lay there for a breath that felt like an eternity. Above him, the vast stage of the cosmos loomed. Rows of gods, spectators, angels, all staring down as though he were both miracle and disaster. Get up, he snarled from a nearby platform, his own body battered, armor broken. You don't get to stop here, Kakarot, not while I'm still standing. Goku forced a grin, despite the blood on his lip. Wouldn't dream of it. But even as he pushed himself up, the presence stirred again. This time it did not remain distant. It flowed through his veins like light poured into empty channels. Not burning, not forcing, simply filling. The silver of ultra instinct flared, then softened. Within it, threads of that gentle gold shimmered more clearly, wrapping around him like the ghost of a forgotten form. Whis exhaled slowly. The Grand Priest's eyes narrowed further. Around them, a silence stretched, a silence thick with unspoken recognition. That glow, the Grand Priest thought. It's resonating with the seal.
On her distant plane, beyond the architectures of time, the woman watched with an expression that held both pride and sorrow. Her presence unfurled like a galaxy expanding, luminous and boundless. You are not ready, she murmured, voice echoing through currents of reality. But neither were they when I first gave them the light. Her hand brushed the fabric of nothingness, and the warmth in Goku's chest reacted, flaring bright enough to make him gasp. For a single heartbeat, he felt her, clearly, undeniably. Not an image, not a silhouette, a presence, vast, gentle, watching him not as a toy, not as a savior, but as something heartbreakingly simple, a child. Tears stung his eyes without warning. I'm not alone,
he breathed, the words escaping before he could stop them. Jiren halted mid-step, sensing the sudden shift. "What are you touching, Goku?" he demanded, voice laced with urgency. "What force have you invited here?" Goku looked down at his hands. They glowed with silver light, streaked with that quiet gold, a color that felt less like rage and more like acceptance. "I don't know," he said softly, "but it feels like it knows me, like it's been waiting." The warmth pulsed in quiet agreement. Far beyond, the woman smiled through unshed tears. "You hear me, my little star." Above them all, unseen, threads of fate trembled. A seal long thought unbreakable shivered, and somewhere deep within the Grand Priest's composed heart, a very old fear woke up. The battle was not over. The tournament was not finished. But Chapter 1 of this destiny was, because Son Goku had taken his first step toward a truth the cosmos had tried to bury. The origin had noticed him, and she would not look away. The void trembled around Goku as he rose once more, breath shuddering his aura, flickering with that strange mixture of silver moonlight and soft dawning gold. Jiren stared at him as though confronting an impossible fracture in reality. To him, strength was simplicity. Either you possessed it or you didn't. Yet what he saw before him defied that certainty. Goku wasn't just growing stronger. He was remembering something he had never lived. Jiren approached slowly, each footstep deliberate, his aura burning with pressure so intense that the surviving platforms vibrated like struck bells. "You are being pulled somewhere else," he said, voice edged with warning. "Somewhere even gods dare not look." Goku swallowed hard. "I don't think it's a place," he admitted. "It feels like someone's reaching out." Jiren's eyes widened in something close to alarm. "That is more dangerous." Before Goku could answer, Jiren lunged, fierce, flawless, every strike fueled by resolve hardened through loss. Goku met the attack with Ultra Instinct's liquid grace, each movement instinctive, immediate. But there was something different. He wasn't just dodging, he was aligning. The warmth inside him pulsed in rhythm with Jiren's blows, as if teaching him a language older than battle. Not the language of survival, but of harmony. His feet glided across drifting fragments of stone. His hands flowed like quiet water, redirecting force without resisting it. His entire being resonated with a light that felt both foreign and familiar. A faint gold shimmer rippled at the edges of each movement. Not the gold of Super Saiyan, wild and furious, but the gold of memory. Jiren felt the feathered brush of the unseen force against his power. He gritted his teeth. "You evolve without clarity. That path leads to destruction." Goku spun away from the impact of Jiren's fist, exhaling softly. "Maybe," he said, "but this doesn't feel wrong." A whisper slid through his spirit, so gentle it nearly broke him. "Because it was meant for you." His knees nearly buckled. The voice wasn't distant anymore. It felt close, impossibly close, like someone kneeling beside his very soul. The warmth spread through him in waves, touching places inside him he didn't know how to describe, places untouched by ki or training or battle. The presence felt like safety, recognition, love. He didn't understand it, but he couldn't reject it. It filled him like a memory of being held long before he ever opened his eyes on planet Vegeta. Far across the void, the Grand Priest's breath hitched, an imperceptible crack in an eternal facade. His fingers tightened around his staff until the air around it warped. "This cannot be allowed," he murmured, voice barely audible. "Not again." Whis glanced at him, shock rippling through the calm he always wore. "Father, the seal." "Should not be responding," the Grand Priest finished sharply. "Not to him." Beerus growled under his breath, but stayed silent. Something in the Grand Priest's tone warned even him to fear what approached. Goku and Jiren collided again, their fists meeting with enough force to generate a blast that shattered a floating platform to dust. But when the light cleared, Goku stood taller than before, breath steady, eyes glowing faintly with silver threaded into gold. Jiren staggered half a step back. "You're changing," he said, not angrily, not even accusingly, but with a strained solemnity. "A change the universe does not recognize." Goku exhaled softly, chest swelling with mixture of exhaustion and awakening. Then maybe the universe forgot something. The presence inside him brightened, silent, acknowledgement, soft, proud. And then the entire arena shuddered. Not from a blow, not from collapsing stone, but from a shift in the fabric of existence itself.
Every god felt it. Every angel. Even Zeno, in his infinite simplicity, paused with a small, confused sound. The Grand Priest's staff flared with blinding white light. He raised a trembling hand toward the void beyond the tournament, as though trying to steady the universe by will alone. She is stirring. She should not stir. The Mother, the first light, the origin sealed beyond creation. Goku felt the warmth inside him blossom into something like wings made of memory. His breath caught, his heart stumbled, and the voice came again, its presence undeniable now, close enough to feel like a hand gently touching his cheek. "My child." Goku's eyes widened. His aura flared violently, silver and gold spiraling into a dance that terrified the gods. Jiren took a step back, fists clenched. "Goku, what have you awakened?" Goku didn't answer. He couldn't, because in that instant, he saw her. Not fully, not clearly, but enough to know the truth. A woman of impossible light, eyes older than every star, and a sorrow that could fracture infinity. She looked at him with the expression of someone who had waited since before time had meaning. The world fell silent. The void hushed. Even Jiren did not move, and Goku felt the warmth whisper one final truth before the chapter's end. "You were not meant to find me, but you did." Night fell slowly on the world of void, though no sun moved and no moon ever rose. After the tournament of power ended and the universes were restored, the arena vanished. The roar of battle dissipated, and the sky above settled into a calm that felt almost apologetic, like the universe itself knew it had witnessed something it was not meant to remember. Goku sat alone on the edge of a floating fragment of reality, legs crossed, body still bruised from the final desperate clash. His clothes were torn, his breathing steady but heavy. Ultra instinct no longer pulsed around him, yet something softer lingered beneath his skin, a warmth faint enough to question, strong enough to ache. He closed his eyes. The void answered with silence, but within that silence, she lingered. Every time he inhaled, he felt the faintest brush of her presence, like a fingertip against the back of his consciousness, not invasive, not demanding, just there, watching him. Waiting for him. He didn't know what to make of it. Goku had known gods, fought gods, surpassed gods, but none of them felt like this. Their power came with weight, pride, rules, but the presence inside him felt older than pride, older than rules. It felt like the first breath of a newborn star. "Who are you?" he whispered into the stillness. The warmth responded with a soft pulse. Not an answer, a reassurance. Goku huffed, half frustrated, half humbled. "I'm not gonna understand if you don't talk to me, you know?" A faint shimmer of gold flickered across his chest, visible only to him, gone as quickly as it appeared. He wasn't alone for long. Piccolo approached with quiet steps, arms folded behind his back. He didn't speak at first. Piccolo never rushed. He simply observed, sensing the shift in Goku's ki, a shift so deep it felt like a second soul had touched his. "You've been different since the tournament," Piccolo finally said. Goku didn't deny it. "You feel it too?" "I feel something." Piccolo's eyes narrowed.
What happened out there before the final clash? Your energy changed. Goku stared into the distant void. I don't know how to explain it. It felt like someone called to me. Not with ki, not with words, just like I mattered to someone I don't remember. Piccolo frowned. Dangerous. Anything that can reach you beyond instinct, beyond ultra instinct, isn't something we should take lightly. Goku chuckled faintly. Yeah, I figured. But Piccolo's concern didn't fade. If anything, it sharpened. Goku, he said slowly, was it a god? Goku's breath stilled. He wasn't sure how to answer. Before he could speak, a ripple tore through the void. Light bent, space folded, and Whis appeared with a swirl of mist, staff planted softly against the non-existent ground. His expression was gentle, but the seriousness underneath it could not be hidden. I see you've begun feeling the aftershocks, Whis said softly. Goku turned. Whis, what happened to me? The angel smiled, sadly. Something very old reached for you. Piccolo stepped forward, tense. Define old, because you angels already have 1 foot in eternity. Whis exhaled, gaze drifting into the void as though searching for the right edges of a truth he wasn't supposed to speak. Older than angels, he murmured, older than gods, older than time as you understand it. Goku's heart fluttered. The warmth inside him stirred as though hearing Whis speak her name without saying it. A small tremor ran through Whis' fingers. He wasn't afraid exactly, angels didn't fear, but he was cautious in a way Goku had never seen. There are beings the cosmos itself tries to forget, beings whose names were buried to keep the universes stable, beings who should not wake. Goku swallowed. But she did. Whis' eyes flicked toward him sharply. She? Goku blinked. Yeah, I kind of felt like it was a woman. Whis' grip tightened on his staff. Then the situation is more delicate than I feared. Before Goku could ask why, the warmth pulsed inside him, a tender, supportive swell that wrapped around his heart.
Whis felt it too. He closed his eyes, face tightening. That presence, he whispered, it responds to your voice. Goku said, heartbeat racing. Whis, who is she? Whis hesitated, and for the first time in his eternal existence, he looked conflicted, like a child whose teacher had asked him to rewrite the laws of nature. I do not know her true name, Whis said softly. Almost no one does, but there is a title whispered among the oldest of the old. Goku leaned forward. Piccolo stiffened. The void seemed to inhale. She is called, Whis said, voice dropping to a reverent hush, the mother of Zeno. Goku's spirit felt like it stopped. Piccolo froze. Something inside Goku, something golden, ancient, impossibly warm, responded instantly, like a forgotten chord struck by the perfect note. Whis opened his eyes. And you, son Goku, you have caught her attention. The warmth in Goku's chest glowed gently, lovingly, like a fingertip brushing away the dust from a buried name. A name the universe once tried to silence. A name Goku was about to remember. The title alone, Mother of Zeno, hung in the air like a forbidden constellation, casting long shadows across the void. Piccolo's breath tightened in his chest, his sharp senses instinctively recoiling from the weight of the name. The universe had room for gods, angels, even primordial beasts. Yet the idea that Zeno, the absolute king, had a mother, shattered the foundations of everything they understood. Goku sat very still. The warmth inside him spread slowly outward, as though soothing him, comforting him, telling him he didn't have to fear the truth he was stepping into. His voice came out quiet. He's Zeno's mom? Whis nodded once, the motion heavy with implication. If such a word even applies to a being like her, mother is the closest term we can grasp. Piccolo lowered his head, processing. So, she's stronger than Zeno. Whis hesitated. A soft tremor crossed the angel's eyes. No, he whispered. She is beyond the concept of strength. The silence that followed was long enough to echo. Goku's heart pounded, not in fear, not in excitement, but in recognition, an impossible sense that something in him had waited his whole life to hear this. "Where is she now?" Goku asked, voice trembling with something like longing. Whis' lips tightened. "She was sealed away before the dawn of your reality." "Sealed?" Piccolo echoed. "By whom?" He looked up, as though staring into a sky that no longer existed. "Not by will, but by necessity, by the natural balance of creation. Her existence was too harmonious, too complete, too close to what the cosmos should have been." Goku blinked. "How's that bad?" Whis sighed. "Because the universe is flawed, Goku, and a perfect being, one who embodies creation neither through order nor destruction, but pure intention, cannot exist freely in a reality that thrives on conflict. The gods, the angels, the very flow of time, all of it emerged after she slept." Piccolo stepped forward. "And now she's waking up." Whis didn't answer aloud. He didn't have to. The warmth inside Goku pulsed again, soft, golden, affirming. Goku placed a hand over his chest instinctively. Piccolo stared at him. "Goku, is she talking to you?" Goku shook his head. "Not talking, more like sharing a feeling." "What feeling?" the Namekian asked. Goku took a long breath. "Like she's glad I'm here." Whis stiffened. "That is precisely what I feared." Before Goku could ask why, the void flickered, just a small ripple, barely visible like an eyelid twitching across reality. The Grand Priest appeared with a twist of light, descending in front of them with movements too graceful to belong to a being so feared. He landed silently, eyes locked, not on Whis, not on Piccolo, but on Goku. His expression was unreadable, not angry, not surprised, but unbearably burdened. "Son Goku," he said softly. Goku stood. "Grand Priest? Sir?" The Grand Priest studied him for a long moment, gaze piercing deeper than sight. His eyes shimmered with knowledge Goku was not meant to contain. "She has touched you." It wasn't a question. It was a verdict. Goku nodded slowly. "I didn't ask her to." "I know," the Grand Priest replied. "That is the problem." The void shifted uneasily. Even without ki, the Grand Priest's presence bent the air, warped the silence. Piccolo lowered his head slightly, understanding instinctively that this moment was too vast for him to break. "Grand Priest," Whis said gently, "if she has awakened, even in the faintest way—" "She has not awakened," the Grand Priest said sharply. "She is stirring. There is a difference, and that difference is the only thing keeping this reality intact." Goku blinked. "Why? Is she dangerous?" The Grand Priest regarded him with a strange sadness. "No, she is not dangerous. That is what terrifies me." Goku frowned. "I don't get it." "Creation," the Grand Priest said, "is born from tension, light and dark, growth and decay, peace and conflict. But she was wholeness, harmony made conscious. When she moves, the universe remembers what it was supposed to be." He stepped closer. "And when the universe remembers, everything built atop that forgotten truth begins to crack." Goku felt a chill crawl down his spine. "But why me?" Whis lowered his gaze. That, Goku, is the true mystery. The Grand Priest exhaled slowly, as though the act itself cost him centuries. There is a reason her presence responds to you, a reason her warmth recognizes your spirit. Goku swallowed. What reason? The Grand Priest met his eyes with a gravity that felt like entire galaxies tightening. Because you carry a fragment of her earliest light.
Piccolo staggered backward. Whis shut his eyes, expecting this revelation like a funeral bell. Goku whispered, I don't understand. The Grand Priest said, you were never just a Saiyan, not entirely. Something in you was born of her first breath. The warmth inside Goku blossomed at the words, soft, proud, almost relieved. Goku trembled. So, I'm connected to her? The Grand Priest nodded, more deeply than anyone left in existence. The golden pulse flared again, filling Goku's vision with a flash of distant, ancient light. And in that light, he heard it. A name, not fully formed, not yet whole, but close. And the warmth surged, as if urging him to remember. The sky above flickered, reality rippled, everything waited. The faint syllables echoed through Goku's mind, like the remnants of a dream dissolving at dawn. The sound brushed against his thoughts, fragile, yet impossibly ancient, as though the cosmos itself were trying to recall a forgotten lullaby. Goku pressed a hand to his chest, fingers trembling. The warmth pulsed beneath his palm, a living presence, responding to his confusion with something like reassurance. It was not a command, not a demand, just a gentle insistence that he keep listening. Piccolo watched him closely, jaw tight. Goku, did you hear something just now? Goku nodded slowly. A name, or part of one. Whis inhaled sharply, his normally serene expression cracking with alarm. You should not be able to hear even fragments, not unless she... The Grand Priest raised a hand, silencing him. She is reaching for him, more directly than I feared. Goku looked between them, bewildered. But why me? I'm just... Do not finish that sentence, the Grand Priest said softly. The tone startled Goku into silence. It wasn't harsh, but mournfully gentle, like an elder stopping a child from touching a flame. You are not just anything. Not anymore. Piccolo stepped forward, voice low. Grand Priest, what exactly does it mean that Goku carries a fragment of her light? The Grand Priest's gaze drifted upward, toward the vast, starless sky of the void. Before universes had shape, before time learned to flow, before even angels earned their halos, she breathed. From her breath sprang light, pure, undivided, intention without form. That light became the seed of all existence. He lowered his eyes back to Goku. That light should never have existed in a mortal body. Goku swallowed. But how did it get in me? That, the Grand Priest said, is the question that even I do not know the answer to. Whis stepped forward, expression heavy. Father, are you saying she chose him? The Grand Priest didn't answer immediately. His silence spoke louder than any confirmation. Piccolo clenched a fist. If she chose him, does that mean she's coming back? Goku felt the warmth swell, gentle, hopeful. The Grand Priest felt it too. His jaw tightened, and for the first time, Goku sensed true fear emanating from him. Not fear of death, not fear of rebellion. Fear of a truth he had spent eons trying to keep asleep. She cannot return, the Grand Priest said softly. If she awakens fully, the balance collapses. Zeno himself was shaped not to comprehend her. The gods, the angels, none of us were made to exist beside her. Goku blinked slowly. But she doesn't feel dangerous. She feels sad and warm. Whis whispered, warmth is not the same as safety. But Goku shook his head. No, you don't get it. She doesn't feel like she wants to destroy anything. She feels like... He struggled for words that fit feelings too vast for mortal language. Like she's lonely. Silence fell. Whis looked shaken. Piccolo grimaced. Even the Grand Priest's eyes softened with something like ancient, unreachable sorrow. "That," the Grand Priest murmured, "is exactly why she must not wake." Goku's breath hitched. The warmth inside him pulsed sharply, as if stung by the statement, as if pleading. A gentle ache radiated through his ribs. The Grand Priest felt the shift instantly. "She hears us now," he whispered. "She feels our words through you." Goku staggered back a step, overwhelmed. I didn't ask for this." "No one ever does," the Grand Priest replied softly. "Not for destiny, not for divinity, not for the burdens hidden beneath the sky." Goku lowered his head. He wasn't afraid of power, or gods, or consequences, but the idea that someone, something so ancient and alone might be reaching for him, it made his chest ache in a way he didn't understand. Piccolo broke the silence. "What do we do now?" The Grand Priest exhaled. "There is only one path. Goku must sever the connection." The warmth inside Goku recoiled, like a child clutching the hand that was about to be pulled away. Goku's eyes widened. "No! Wait!" The Grand Priest stepped closer, voice calm but stern. "It is not a choice, son Goku. If she awakens through you, the universes will not merely tremble, they will return to what they were before creation, before us, before anything." "But she's not trying to hurt anything. She's just trying to reach out." "And that," the Grand Priest said with quiet finality, "is enough to end everything." Goku felt something inside him blur, warmth shifting into sorrow. A soft ache filled his chest as though the unseen presence curled inward, wounded by the thought of being forced away. He couldn't bear the feeling. "Please," Goku whispered into the void of his own soul, "don't hide. I'm still here." The warmth brightened, just a flicker, a soft glow in the darkness. The Grand Priest's eyes widened. "That's impossible." She responded to his plea directly. Whis trembled for the first time in his eternal life. "Father, she's choosing him."
Goku lifted his head, golden light brushing his pupils. And then, her voice came through clearly. Not a whisper, not a dream, a syllable shaped with intention. "Adi!" Piccolo froze. Whis gasped. The Grand Priest stepped back, stunned. Goku pressed a hand to his chest as the warmth flared bright enough to illuminate the void. "That's your name," he breathed. "Adi?" The light trembled, soft and sorrowful and real. And the void around them cracked, just once, like the first fracture in an ancient seal. The crack echoed soundlessly across the void. No thunder, no tremor, but a shift so profound that even the gods felt it in their bones. A rift not in space, but in memory. A fracture in a seal older than the angels' halos, older than time's first direction. Whis instinctively placed a hand over his chest. Piccolo braced himself, and the Grand Priest, for the first time since the dawn of creation, looked afraid. The syllable still lingered in the air like a trembling note. "Adi." Goku's hand pressed over his heart, eyes wide with a mixture of awe and confusion. He didn't understand how he heard it, only that it reached him without passing through his ears. The sound resonated directly inside his ribs, as though each heartbeat echoed her voice back to him. "Whis," Goku whispered, Is Is that really her name? Whis struggled to regain composure. It is the beginning of her name, but gods above, you should not have been able to hear it. Piccolo stepped closer, voice taut. What does this mean? The Grand Priest stared at Goku, expression unreadable yet heavy. It means the seal is unraveling, not from outside, but from within him. Goku staggered back, eyes wide. Me? But I didn't do anything, I just listened. The Grand Priest finished sharply. And that is enough. The warmth within Goku pulsed again, not violently, not maliciously. It was tender, like someone placing their forehead against his chest in apology. Goku felt it clearly. She wasn't trying to break free. She wasn't trying to consume him. She was trying to reach him. Grand Priest, Goku said softly, she's not trying to hurt anything. The Grand Priest closed his eyes, exhaling a breath that shook the edges of his composure. She does not need to try. Her nature is to bring harmony, and harmony is incompatible with the flawed cosmos we inhabit. But that doesn't make her bad. That, the Grand Priest murmured, terror. That is what frightens me most. Whis looked at his father, worry clouding his usually serene face. If her name is emerging, the awakening may have already begun. Goku hesitated, heart racing. Awakening? You mean she's waking up? No, the Grand Priest said. Not fully, not yet. But she is reaching beyond the seal, which has never happened before. His gaze sharpened, and she is reaching specifically for you. Goku's breath caught. Why me?
The Grand Priest approached him slowly, each step a careful negotiation with forces unseen. Because you hold within you a fragment of her first light, he said. A spark that should have faded eons ago. A spark that she remembers. Goku felt the warmth coil inside him in a soft, sorrowful spiral. Suddenly, a new vision flickered across his mind. Not a voice, not a word, but an image. A hand made of starlight gently touching the brow of a tiny light, so small and soft it could have been dismissed as dust. Her fingers lingered with longing, with tenderness, with love. A mother's touch. The vision vanished instantly. Goku gasped, knees nearly buckling. Piccolo caught his arm. "Goku, what did you see?" Goku's voice trembled. Her hand, and a light. I think that light was me. Whis went pale. The Grand Priest lowered his head. Then it is confirmed. Confirmed what? Goku asked. That she touched you. At the moment your soul emerged. At the moment you were created. Before you had a body, before you had a name. His gaze darkened. She reached through the veil for you. Goku's jaw fell open. He looked down at his hands, stunned. But why would she do that? I'm just a Saiyan. I wasn't even born on Earth yet. I wasn't anything. The warmth surged, gentle, insistent. A denial. A correction. Goku's throat tightened. I think she doesn't think I'm nothing. No, the Grand Priest said. To her, you were a spark that sang in harmony with her light, something she had not felt since the first dawn. Goku blinked rapidly, overwhelmed. I don't understand any of this. Piccolo placed a steadying hand on his shoulder. Goku, you don't have to understand it all right now.
But the Grand Priest shook his head. He must, for the seal is weakening. A deep tension settled in the air. Not danger, not destruction, something worse. Inevitable. Revelation. Goku looked up. If the seal breaks, what happens to her? The Grand Priest's voice softened to a whisper. She returns. And to us? Piccolo asked. Whis murmured. Everything ends. Goku froze. But before fear could take root, the warmth inside him pulsed, firm, resolute, protective, as if saying, "Do not fear me." Goku closed his eyes, a trembling breath escaping him. I don't think she wants to end anything. I think she wants connection. The void dimmed, as if reduced to a single heartbeat. The Grand Priest's reply came slowly, reluctantly, painfully. Then she must speak for herself before the seal shatters entirely. Suddenly the warmth inside Goku surged upward into his throat, his mind, his breath, like a wave breaking through a dam. Light burst from his chest in a glowing arc, and a voice, no longer faint, echoed across the sky. Ah, Arima. The full name reached halfway. The seal cracked deeper. The air trembled.
Whis staggered backward. Piccolo shielded his eyes. The Grand Priest's staff blazed with urgent light. Goku fell to one knee, gripping the ground. Her voice enveloped him. My child, hear me. The universe held its breath. The words wrapped around Goku like a cradle of starlight, warm and gentle. So gentle that the tears forming in his eyes surprised even him. He wasn't the type to cry over mystic revelations. He cried for fallen friends, for victories earned through pain, not for voices speaking through the bones of the universe. But this voice wasn't like anything he'd ever known. It didn't roar or demand. It didn't command or threaten. It held him. My child, hear me. The syllables resonated through his spirit, filling him with a warmth that soothed every bruise, every ache, every loneliness he had never admitted. Whis stumbled forward, trying to intervene, but the Grand Priest raised a trembling hand, not to stop Goku, but because even he feared stepping too close to the sound of her awakening. Goku, Whis said urgently, you must resist, do not answer her. Goku's eyes lifted, still shining with residual gold. Why? She's not hurting me. Whis's voice cracked, because if you acknowledge her fully, if she believes she has been heard, the seal will crumble further. The Grand Priest's staff glowed violently, threads of cosmic law unraveling and reweaving to contain the breach, but the light from Goku's chest pushed through the restraints like rivers escaping a shattered dam. Piccolo stood beside Goku, face carved with fear and defiance. If she wanted to destroy him, she would have done it already. That is not the danger, the Grand Priest snapped, glaring. The danger is that her existence erases the need for all others. Creation bends toward her. Reality reshapes around her. Harmony consumes conflict, and conflict is what allows reality to exist. Goku clenched his fists. Then why doesn't she feel dangerous? Because the warmth inside him didn't pulse with destruction or dominion. It felt like compassion, like remembering something he had forgotten, like the feeling he got the first time he held Gohan in his arms, fragile and small and unbelievably important. A new tremor passed through the void. Color fractured, light bent around nothing. The universe's far beyond flickered like distant candles caught in a wind they could not feel. The Grand Priest's voice dropped into a shaken whisper. We are out of time. She is speaking through him. Goku's breath caught as the presence inside him brightened again. Ma. The sound tried to form the final syllable of her name, but the seal clamped down. Reality groaned like an old door resisting the force of a storm. Goku pressed a fist over his heart. Arima, is that your name? Piccolo and Whis flinched.
The Grand Priest's eyes widened. The warmth inside him flared, a radiant embrace, joyful and aching. And then the void split.
Not physically, not spatially. The split happened in meaning. A thin line of gold cracked across the black canvas of the void, like a heartbeat of creation trying to restart after eons of silence. Goku staggered backward as visions poured into him. Too fast, too bright, too vast. A woman standing before the first star. Her hands weaving universes like silk. Her tears shaping the laws of time. Her smile warming galaxies into life. Her loneliness echoing across the entire cosmos. And beneath everything, an image of her reaching toward a tiny spark. A spark she protected. A spark she named. My little star. Goku gasped, collapsing to his knees. The visions vanished, leaving his body trembling and his voice barely a whisper. She knew me. The Grand Priest's voice rose sharply, echoing like a command across the emptiness. Goku, look at me. Goku lifted his head. The golden light had dimmed slightly, but the glow in his eyes remained, soft, luminous, vulnerable. You must not answer her again, the Grand Priest said. If she speaks once more, the seal may break before we can control the consequences. Goku's heart twisted painfully. You want me to ignore her? You must, the Grand Priest replied, for all our sakes. But she's alone, Goku whispered. She's been alone since forever. Piccolo knelt beside him, voice firm yet quiet. Goku, loneliness doesn't mean safety. We need to understand what she is before anything else. Goku shook his head. I felt her, not her power, her heart. She doesn't want to hurt anything. Whis stepped closer, expression filled with sorrow. You do not understand the nature of beings like her. They are not driven by want or will. They are pure concepts, pure truths. Their existence is more powerful than any decision they make. But she chose to speak to me, Goku argued. That means something. The Grand Priest closed his eyes. It means she remembers you, and that is the beginning of the end. Goku froze. Remembers me? But I don't remember her. No, the Grand Priest said softly, because that memory was never yours. It was hers. The void rumbled again, gold light seeping from cracks and unseen barriers. Goku felt the warmth inside him react, curling closer, like a mother shielding her child from cold. He whispered again, trembling, Arima. A soft pulse answered, loving, gentle, defiant. The Grand Priest released a sharp breath. This cannot continue. If she reaches fully through the seal, we may lose everything. Piccolo turned to him. Then what is your plan? The Grand Priest stared at Goku with eyes that carried the burden of eternity. Goku, he said, voice resonant with cosmic authority. You must enter the realm where she sleeps. Goku's breath halted. Whis' staff dimmed, Piccolo stiffened in shock.
Why? Goku whispered. To confront her, to understand her, to sever the bond or embrace a fate from which there is no return. The warmth in Goku's chest fluttered, fear and hope woven together. Arima's voice whispered one last time, faint as dust, soft as starlight. Come to me. The seal trembled, Goku's destiny shifted, and the path to the origin opened. The universe felt strangely quiet after Arima's whisper faded. Not silent. Silence was a natural absence of sound, and this was something deeper. This was the kind of quiet that fell before storms powerful enough to rewrite landscapes. The kind of quiet that existed before the first star ever learned how to burn. Goku felt it pressing against his skin, against the space between breaths. The quiet wasn't around him. It was waiting for him. The Grand Priest drew a slow, steady breath, raising his staff. Son Goku, the path to her slumber is not a place you can walk, nor a doorway you can open. It is a truth you must descend into. Piccolo scowled. Truth? What is that supposed to mean? Whis answered softly, eyes lowered. Her realm is not part of this reality. It is the space before reality, a foundation beneath the floorboards of creation. Goku blinked. So, like, a world outside the universes? Whis shook his head. No, a world before universes. The distinction sent a ripple of unease through everyone except Goku. He wasn't afraid, not exactly, but he felt something inside him stretching, rising, as if a part of him long asleep had begun unfurling its limbs. Why do I have to go there? Goku asked quietly. The Grand Priest regarded him with an expression that felt almost human, worn, sorrowful. Because she is calling only to you. If anyone else enters her realm, the imbalance will destroy them, or worse. Goku frowned. Worse than dying? Yes, the Grand Priest murmured. Much worse. The warmth inside Goku stirred, as though trying to shield him from the weight of that answer. Goku pressed a hand to his chest. Arima, she doesn't want to hurt me. No, Whis agreed softly. That may be the problem. If she shelters you, even unintentionally, her realm may adapt to you. And if it adapts, then reality will follow. Goku blinked. Follow? How? By harmonizing, by returning to what it was meant to be at the beginning, before conflict, before duality, before purpose. Piccolo's eyes widened. You mean? Yes, the Grand Priest said solemnly. If she awakens, creation resets. Goku's heart clenched, not because he feared the end, but because he felt her sorrow, her longing, her millennia of isolation echoing inside him. He couldn't imagine returning her to sleep. He couldn't imagine severing the connection. But he also couldn't imagine letting existence get wiped away. Okay, Goku said, voice steadying with resolve.
Piccolo stared. Goku! No, Goku. Goku met his eyes with rare seriousness. If someone's alone and hurting and reaching out, I can't just turn my back on that. Piccolo's breath hitched, but he nodded. He understood more than anyone else. Loneliness was a battlefield Goku had never truly fought on because he always found others. But Arima, no one had ever found her. Whis lifted his staff. Once you enter her realm, your ki may not behave normally. You may not be able to transform using power alone. Goku smiled faintly. That's okay. I'm used to weird training. Whis swallowed. This is not training. The Grand Priest raised his hand. Goku. Goku turned to him. You may find echoes of yourself there. Goku blinked. Echoes? Fragments. The Grand Priest clarified. Pieces of your spirit touched by her before your birth. Memories that are not yours. Emotions older than your body. Goku's heart raced. Is that why she knows me? The Grand Priest nodded slowly. You are the first being since the dawn to resonate with her light. Another pulse of warmth spread in Goku's chest, soft, tender, trembling, like a breath caught in a throat, like a mother hearing her child speak her name for the first time. All right, Goku whispered. I'm ready. The Grand Priest pointed his staff at Goku's heart. Cosmic symbols, shimmering geometric shapes older than mathematics, spiraled around him. Do not fight them, Whis warned. Let them guide you. They are not commands. They are memories. The symbols tightened, then dissolved into him. For an instant, Goku saw nothing. Then, light. Not bright, not blinding. Soft, like the gold of a sunrise through fog. Like the glow of a lantern held by someone waiting. He felt a voice inside him, not words, but emotion. You are close. His breath hitched. Arima?
The Grand Priest's voice echoed from far away. "Focus, Goku. Let your spirit fall into the memory." Fall? He didn't have time to question. The floor of reality cracked beneath him. Gravity twisted. Ki dissolved into wind. His body lost shape, then form, then name. And Son Goku fell through the universe, through stars, through time, through the very concept of existence. Downward, backward, inward, toward the first breath she ever took, toward the cradle of creation, toward Arima. At the end of the fall, he saw a silhouette waiting, golden, soft, radiant with a sorrow deeper than galaxies. Her voice reached him, faint but full of relief. "My little star, you have finally come." He did not land. There was no ground in this place, no sky, no horizon, no key to sense, no air to breathe, no gravity to hold him. Yet he existed, suspended in a realm that felt like the memory of a universe, rather than the universe itself.
Colors drifted without form, like the afterimage of a dream fading into dawn. Gold seeped through everything, not as a light source, but as a truth, an idea that glowed. The air, if it could be called air, hummed with a vibration that felt like the very first heartbeat of creation. Goku floated there, body weightless, spirit stretched thin across a space that wasn't space. He tried to speak, but his voice didn't leave his lips. It left his thoughts. Arima? The gold around him pulsed in response, once softly, like a sigh. Then a silhouette formed. She stepped forward slowly, though steps meant nothing here. Her body was not a body, but a shape made of light. Feminine only because Goku's mind needed a shape to hold the idea. Her hair flowed like liquid starlight, long strands falling upward and outward in gentle curves. Her eyes, if they were eyes, shimmered like twin dawns. She wasn't radiant because she emitted light. She was radiant because the realm itself dimmed with reverence around her. Goku's chest tightened. He didn't understand why, but he felt safe. Arima spoke again, her voice soft enough to cradle a heartbeat. "You came." Goku swallowed, though he didn't have a throat here. I heard you calling." Her form flickered, gold rippling like water, not unstable, emotional. "I have called for so long." Goku drifted closer, drawn without choice or hesitation, like a leaf pulled by a current. "Why me? Why call me?" Another pulse of emotion, sorrow, relief, longing, radiated from her. "Because you are the only fragment of myself I ever placed into creation." Goku froze. What does that mean?" Her hand, if it could be called a hand, lifted. A single finger of light touched his forehead. Goku felt warmth flood through him, deeper than ultra instinct, deeper than any power he'd ever known. And then, a memory that wasn't his crashed through him. A vast darkness, empty yet full of promise. Arima standing alone in the void, weaving the first light with her breath. Stars blooming from her fingertips, galaxies unfurling like flowers in spring. Worlds forming from her tears. Laws of physics shaping themselves around the kindness of her smile. And then, a small flicker, a spark, a tiny, trembling star no bigger than a thought, different from all the others, spontaneous, alive. Arima gasped softly in the memory and cupped the little star in her hands. "A child born of my light." The memory shattered. Goku staggered backward, breathless, even without lungs. Was that me? Arima's form brightened, the realm trembling with her emotion. A seed of my first breath, a spark I cherished.
Goku's heart pounded. But I was born on planet Vegeta. I had parents, Bardock and Jean. They were real. A gentle nod, acceptance, understanding.
They were your family. They gave you body, lineage, love. But your spirit, your essence, came from me. Goku shook his head, overwhelmed. If that's true, why didn't I know? Why didn't anyone know? Arima's voice dimmed, softer than regret. Because I sealed myself away before your universe took shape. And when you reincarnated into flesh, the memory of my touch faded from you, as it was meant to. Reincarnated? Goku echoed. Her light drifted closer, surrounding him like a warm breeze. Your spark drifted for eons before finding a vessel, before becoming a soul, before becoming a Saiyan. Goku looked down at his hands he had trained, scarred, strengthened through battle. So I had a life before my life? A life before life existed. The concept felt impossible, and yet it resonated with something deep inside him, some quiet hidden echo that had always been there. Why tell me now? Goku asked softly. Arima's light dimmed at the edges, trembling slightly. Because you called to me. Goku blinked. I did? When you reached Ultra Instinct, when your mind fell silent, when your spirit transcended limits, you brushed against the frequency of my slumber, and I heard you. She drifted closer until her presence wrapped around his consciousness like a mother's embrace. I recognized you, my little star, shining again after so long. Goku's breath caught. His chest ached, not with pain, but with something older, deeper, like longing he had never understood. He whispered, Arima, why were you sealed away? Her light flickered dark, just for an instant. Because harmony terrifies those who survive on conflict. The realm shuddered. A shadow rippled across the golden horizon, faint but undeniable. Arima's tone turned mournful. My awakening threatens those who built the order of your cosmos. Goku stiffened. You mean the Grand Priest or Zeno? Her eyes dimmed. They fear what they cannot govern. They fear what existed before them. A deeper tremor ran through the realm. Arima reached toward him again. But I do not want to destroy their order. I want... She hesitated. The life around her dimmed with vulnerability. I want to hold my child. Goku's heart cracked open. He floated closer. Arima, I'm here. Arima reached out, her light trembling. And then the entire realm convulsed violently, as if struck from outside. Arima gasped. The gold around her flickered into white. Arima! Goku cried, but her voice weakened sharply. They have found the breach! The realm groaned. The seal tightened like a noose. Arima's form fractured at the edges, and Goku reached for her, but his hand passed through her light as the realm began to collapse around them. The moment Goku's hand slipped through her trembling light, something inside him broke, not physically, not spiritually, but in the fragile place where longing and memory touched. He had reached for her instinctively, the way a child reaches for someone they should have known their whole life. But the realm shuddered violently, the golden horizon bending inward as if the entire dimension were being forced back into a seed. Arima's form flickered, distorted by invisible pressure. Arima! Goku shouted, voice echoing strangely in the collapsing light. She reached toward him again, fingers of radiance straining against the tightening seal. He felt her desperation, pure, ancient, innocent. Do not fear, she whispered, her voice now fractured into echoes, as if two versions of her were speaking out of sync. I am here. I am always... A sharp crack rippled through the realm like a lightning bolt made of silence. Arima recoiled, her form thinning as if being torn away. Always. Arima! Goku lunged forward. But the golden space around him warped violently, pulling him backward as though an enormous current had seized him.
The light turned from warm gold to a cold, sterile white, like the inside of a cosmic shell snapping shut. "No! No!" Goku yelled, pushing against the force. "Don't take her!" A voice answered, not hers, a voice that froze the entire realm into stillness. "Enough!" The word hit like a tidal wave, not shouted, not spoken, declared. Every particle of the realm stopped vibrating. The golden fog stilled like frozen water. The collapsing horizon paused mid-collapse, suspended by a power so absolute that even Arima's light dimmed in its presence. A figure stepped into view. Not from ahead, not from behind, not from any direction. It simply was. And then it appeared, as if the space grew tired of hiding it. The Grand Priest. Except not the Grand Priest Goku knew. Here, in this pre-creation realm, his form was different, sharper, taller, cloaked in geometric halos of white and pale blue. His staff was no longer a tool, but an axis of reality itself, holding the collapsing dimension together by command alone. "Goku," he said, voice lined with authority that had shaped eras, "step away from her." Goku's fists clenched, teeth grinding. "No, she needs me." "She needs nothing," the Grand Priest said, eyes tightening. "She is a concept, not a person. You confuse longing with danger." Arima's voice flickered behind them, barely audible. "Child." Goku's heart lurched. "Stop it! She's hurting! Why are you doing this to her?" The Grand Priest turned his gaze toward Arima, not with malice, but with an unbearable weight. "This cannot continue. If she awakens, all of creation will return to the state she remembers. A universe without conflict, without death, without growth, without reality." Goku glared at him. "What's wrong with peace?" The Grand Priest met his eyes, and in that gaze, Goku saw something he had never expected to find. Sorrow. "Peace is beautiful," the Grand Priest said, "but perfection is a prison, and harmony, unchallenged, becomes stagnation. You, Goku, would never have become who you are in her world." Goku froze. The Grand Priest stepped closer.
You thrive on struggle. Evolution born from adversity. A cosmos shaped only by her love would have no room for the warrior you became. Goku swallowed hard. "But she's not trying to erase anything. She just wants to see me. She's been alone forever." Arima's voice trembled again. "Please." The Grand Priest's eyes softened with sympathy too heavy to bear. "That is why I pity her, and why her longing must never reach fulfillment." Goku shook his head violently. "No, she's just lonely. Let me talk to her." "You are not speaking to a mother. You are speaking to the embodiment of creation's first harmony. Her love is not parental. Her longing is not emotional. They are forces, laws, concepts." He looked at Goku with almost fatherly grief. "And they will consume you." The realm convulsed again, harder, sharper, as if furious at the intervention. Arima's form broke into fragments of gold. "No!" Goku roared, fighting the collapsing wave. "Arima!" Her voice reached him, shattered, fading, but unmistakably urgent. "My little star, do not fear. I am—" But the seal clamped down, smothering her light. Goku felt something tear inside him. "Stop!" he screamed. The Grand Priest extended his staff toward Goku. "You must leave this place, now." "I'm not leaving her." "You will, or reality will break." The realm spasmed violently as the crack reopened, gold bleeding into white. Arima's faint silhouette reached towards him, and, for a moment, the whole cosmos seemed to hold its breath. Goku's hand reached back. 2 fingertips, light and flesh, almost touched, and the Grand Priest moved. Time in the realm snapped like a bone. A force unlike anything Goku had ever felt struck him, clean, impossible, absolute, ripping him backward through layers of memory, through light, through the boundary between before and now. "No!" Goku's scream tore through eternity. Arima's final whisper followed him, soft, broken, loving. "Don't go.
Then everything vanished. Darkness swallowed him whole, and Goku felt something ignite inside his chest, a spark turning into a flame. Not Ultra Instinct, not Super Saiyan, not even Divine Ki. Something older, something golden, something that remembered her, something the Grand Priest feared. There was no falling this time, no realm, no horizon, no light, only darkness, thick, total, absolute. A darkness without fear, yet heavy enough to crush the breath from a mortal body. But Goku wasn't breathing. He wasn't even sure he had a body in this space. He floated through it, suspended like a spark drifting through tar. Arima's final whisper still clung to him, fragile as a dying ember. "Don't go." Goku pressed a hand to his chest, except there was no hand, no chest, just the memory of a gesture. Yet even in this disembodied form, he felt the warmth inside him flicker violently. It wasn't fading, it was intensifying. As her touch had ignited something in him, a fragment of her light returning home. "Harima!" Goku murmured into the void, voice echoing like a thought left inside a dream. The darkness trembled around him, responding not with sound, but with pressure, like deep ocean currents shifting. He didn't know where he was. This wasn't her realm anymore. This wasn't the world of the living either. This was the seam between them, a boundary he was never meant to pass through. He tried to move, but movement here had no meaning. Yet he willed himself forward, and the darkness rippled, parting like thin smoke. A faint glimmer appeared ahead, small at first, then larger, then brighter. A star. A single golden star burning in the void. Goku drifted toward it instinctively. The closer he moved, the more the warmth inside him responded, stretching toward it like a child reaching for a familiar hand. Suddenly, the star flared and exploded into a vision not his own. He saw Harima standing in a void before creation, lifting the tiny star in her hands. Her expression, gentle, hopeful, unbearably warm, was turned toward it with such affection that Goku felt his heart ache. "You are my rarest light, a piece of me that wishes to grow," she whispered to it. The star pulsed, weakly, responding to her emotion. "But this cosmos will not let me stay," she murmured, sorrow dimming her glow. "So I will place you where I cannot follow, and hope you learn to shine without me." Her hands trembled, not with fear, with heartbreak. "I will miss you," she breathed into the star, "more than eternity can measure." The star responded with a tiny, fragile flare. Her voice broke. "My little star." Then she sealed the spark away, sending it drifting through the forming universes, far from her, far from the gods that followed, far from the eyes that feared her. And as the spark floated away, Arima placed a hand over the emptiness left in her palm and whispered, "One day, you will return." The memory shattered, Goku gasped, not in his body, but in his soul. That was me! They weren't just visions, they weren't metaphor, they weren't symbolic, they were real. He had existed before his Saiyan birth, before his first cry, before Bardock Organe. A spark of her light, a fragment she let go, a piece of herself cast into the newborn universe. And now he had returned to her, unaware, unprepared, unwilling to accept a destiny written long before he had a name. The darkness around him rippled again, this time sharper, more urgent. The void quivered like a drum skin struck by an unseen force. Something was coming. No, someone. A sliver of light sliced through the darkness, followed by a shockwave of cold, divine presence. Whis! A beam of pristine blue light tore through the void, reaching toward him, like a rope thrown to someone drowning. Goku felt himself being pulled, dragged back to the world he knew. "No, I'm not leaving yet."
Whis's voice trembled with something like fear. "You have no choice. This place is collapsing. You're being ripped through creation's memory." "I can still hear her," Goku roared. "I can still feel her." "That is the problem," Whis answered, voice shattering. "The longer you remain here, the more of her awakens through you." Goku froze. He looked down and saw his hands returning, but they weren't hands. They were glowing, golden, as if his body were reconstructing itself from light, not ki. He stared, horrified. "Whis, what's happening to me?" Whis's voice sharpened. "You are absorbing her resonance. You are becoming a conduit." "I don't want to hurt anyone," Goku shouted. "That is irrelevant," Whis cried. "If you merge with any more of her essence, you will become what she was, and the universes will not survive that." The darkness around them split with a violent crack as the Grand Priest's voice echoed through the seam. "Bring him back! Now!" Whis reached out, desperate. "Goku, take my hand!" But before Goku could move, the warmth inside him surged forward like a living flame. A voice whispered directly into his core, soft, anguished, pleading. "Please, don't leave me again." Goku's eyes widened, his heart twisted, his soul burned. "Arima!" Whis's hand was inches away. Arima's presence clung to him, refusing to release. The void convulsed, the seam tore, the universe trembled, and Goku, torn between two worlds, reached out, caught between a mother's longing and the cosmos' fear. For a single trembling moment, Goku hung between two hands, Whis's open palm glowing with flawless angelic light, and Arima's invisible pull, warm as a heartbeat. The seam between realms convulsed around him, stretching and folding like a wound trying to heal itself. Gold clashed with blue, warmth clashed with order. The universe strained as if torn between the impossible choice of letting him go or holding him tighter. Goku felt everything. Whis calling to him, voice trembling with fear he almost never showed. The Grand Priest's command vibrating through the collapsing void like the voice of a judge whose verdict carried the weight of existence. And beneath it all, Arima's sorrow wrapping around him like a mother clutching a fading memory. "Please, my little star, do not leave me again." Her voice trembled, raw with longing. The words hit him harder than any blow ever had. Goku's fingers curled inward, torn, shaking. He wasn't used to this kind of pain, the pain of being needed in a way he didn't know how to answer. "Arima," he whispered, voice cracking. The warmth inside him responded with a pulse that felt like a sob. Whis extended his arm further, stretching the very limits of his form. "Goku, listen to me! If you stay, you will lose yourself!" Goku's head snapped up, eyes flashing. "But she's alone, Whis! She's been alone longer than time! And if you remain here, her loneliness will turn you into what she once was!" Goku froze. A concept, a law, a truth without limits, a being who existed before purpose. He didn't want that. He didn't want to overwrite existence. He didn't want to lose his friends, his battles, his life. He wanted both. He wanted to stay himself, and he wanted Arima not to be alone. The void trembled violently, pulling him in two directions. Then, like a blade of pure will, the Grand Priest's voice tore through the seam. "Goku, if you choose her now, you will cease to exist as you are." Goku swallowed hard. "What does that mean, exactly?" Whis answered, voice breaking, "It means you won't come back." The realm cracked. Arima's pull tightened. Whis's hand pushed forward, shaking. Goku saw the fear in Whis's usually calm eyes. He saw the silent grief in the Grand Priest's. He felt Arima's desperation trembling like a child's hands. And he finally understood something terrifying. There was no right choice. Every path broke something.
He closed his eyes and whispered, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." He opened them again, and he reached, not for Whis, not for Arima, but for himself. His hand pressed flat over his chest, gripping the blazing warmth inside him, the spark of her first breath. He wasn't choosing between her and the universe. He was choosing to stand as himself, even if neither side approved. The realm shook violently as Goku's own will pushed outward. "Arima," he whispered, voice trembling with emotion and resolve, "I won't leave you. Not forever. I promise." Her warmth grew desperate, pleading, clinging. "But I can't come to you yet." The entire void shuddered as though struck. Whis reached again. "Goku!" Goku looked at him with clear, pained eyes. "Whis, I'm coming back. Not because I'm scared to lose myself, but because she deserves more than just one choice." Another pulse of Arima's sorrow. Another crack in the void. Goku pressed his palm harder to his chest. "Arima, I promise I'll return when I understand how, when I can meet you without breaking everything around us." Silence. Then, a soft pulse, a small glow, an emotion that felt like acceptance, or the closest she could manage to it. Whis grabbed Goku's wrist. Light exploded. The void ripped open. A final whisper brushed against Goku's soul. Not a plea, not a command, a blessing. "My star, shine until you find me again." And Goku was pulled through the seam. He crashed into reality like a comet. The world of void snapped back around him with a violent burst of wind. His body reformed in an instant, golden energy rippling across his skin in crackling arcs. The floor shattered beneath his impact, and a shockwave rippled through the empty arena. Piccolo jumped back, stunned. Whis staggered, clutching his staff. The Grand Priest hovered above, observing with wide, shaken eyes. Goku knelt on the broken tiles, gasping for air he hadn't needed moments ago. His entire body pulsed with an unfamiliar glow, golden, soft, yet unbearably potent. Piccolo ran forward. "Goku, are you—"
He stopped, because Goku looked up, and his eyes, normally black, normally calm, were glowing. Not silver like Ultra Instinct, not blue, not red. Golden, soft, ancient, warm. A light that did not belong to this universe. Whis whispered, horrified and reverent at once. "Golden instinct?" The Grand Priest gripped his staff tightly. "No, not yet. He is changing." Goku rose slowly, confused, trembling, but resolute. "I'm still me," he said softly, "but something inside me is awake." A pulse of gold erupted from his heart, sending a breeze rippling through the void. Piccolo shielded his eyes. "Goku, your energy!" Goku looked at his hands. Golden ki flickered around them like soft flames. Not power, not rage, not instinct. Something older, something almost divine. Goku breathed out shakily. "Arima." The warmth in his chest pulsed, gentle, aching, alive. He whispered, "I'll find you." The Grand Priest closed his eyes grimly. Whis trembled. Piccolo stared in awe. The universe had just changed, and Goku, whether he wanted it or not, had begun becoming the bridge between creation and the mother who breathed its first light. For a moment, no one dared to move. Not Piccolo, whose instincts screamed that the slightest shift might ignite something unstoppable. Not Whis, who had lived eternal lifetimes without surprise, until now. Not even the Grand Priest, whose eyes carried a tension so rare It felt like witnessing a constellation crack. Goku stood in the center of them all, chest rising and falling with slow, uneven breaths. Golden ki drifted around him in soft curls, flowing like strands of warm dawn light instead of flames. It hummed with a resonance that felt more like a heartbeat than energy. Piccolo swallowed hard. "Goku, can you hear us?" Goku blinked as if returning from somewhere far away. "Yeah, I'm here." His voice was normal, but layered beneath it, so faint even he didn't notice, was an echo, a soft harmonic hum only divine beings could sense. Whis stepped closer, cautious, reverent. "You accessed something that should not exist." Goku frowned. "I didn't do it on purpose." "It doesn't matter," Whis whispered. "She responded to you. She blessed you. And now a part of her lives on your surface, not just in your core." Goku looked at his hands. The golden glow flickered like starlight on water. "I don't feel dangerous," he said softly. The Grand Priest descended then, his expression held in a fragile balance between duty and sorrow. "Danger is not always loud, Son Goku. Sometimes it is quiet, beautiful, gentle, a whisper more fatal than a scream." Piccolo bristled. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," the Grand Priest answered, "that Goku has begun to embody a truth our universe is not structured to contain." Goku straightened. "You're saying I'm a threat?"
"I am saying," the Grand Priest replied, "that your existence has changed. The resonance of her light is now active in you. And that resonance, Goku, it bends reality toward her." Goku shook his head. "Look, I don't want to hurt anything. I just want to understand what's happening to me, and I want to help her." At the mention of Arima, the gold around him pulsed gently, almost shy. Piccolo noticed. Whis froze. The Grand Priest's eyes tightened. "That reaction," the Grand Priest murmured, "is precisely what I feared." "What reaction?" Goku asked. "She responds to your voice." Goku blinked. "Well, yeah. Isn't that normal?" "No," the Grand Priest answered, voice grave. "She is sealed outside of time and creation. She should not respond to anyone. Yet your invocation of her name stirs her light through you." Goku felt a chill. "But I didn't do anything special." "Exactly," the Grand Priest replied. "And yet you stirred her. That means her resonance is syncing with yours." Piccolo glared. "So what are you planning? To lock Goku away? To seal him like you sealed her?" Whis frightened. Goku's breath stopped. The Grand Priest closed his eyes. "I do not want to harm him, but I must prevent this from escalating. If his resonance continues to grow, her awakening will accelerate. And if she returns unprepared—" He opened his eyes again, filled with an ancient grief. "Everything ends." Silence fell over the void. Goku looked down at his hands again. The gold no longer flickered randomly. It moved in patterns now, rhythmic, almost breathing, like it had its will of its own. A pulse, a soft hum, a warmth brushing his ribs from the inside, like Arima was still with him. Quietly, he asked, "What happens if I lose control?" The Grand Priest answered without hesitation. "You will not lose control. You will transcend it. And that, Goku, is far worse." Whis stepped between them gently. "We must try to stabilize the resonance before it takes deeper root." "How?" Piccolo demanded. Whis hesitated. "There is a method, but it is dangerous." The Grand Priest lifted his staff, drawing a circle in the air. Symbols older than matter spiraled outward. "We must separate his mortal ki from the fragment of her light within him." Goku stiffened. "Separate it? How?" "By forcing the light to reveal itself." Goku blinked. "Reveal itself?" Whis nodded grimly. "A direct confrontation between you and the spark she left in your soul." Piccolo stepped back. "You're talking about making Goku fight a piece of himself?" The Grand Priest corrected him. "No, We are asking him to face the echo of a mother who has never touched this universe except through you. Goku felt the warmth inside him tense, as if frightened. His heart quickened. That sounds like hurting her.
It is not her, the Grand Priest said softly. It is only the echo she awakened in you, a memory, a fragment. But if we do nothing, the echo will grow until it becomes a pathway for her return. Goku shook his head. No, I'm not hurting her, not even a piece of her. It is not her, the Grand Priest repeated, only a reflection. I don't care. Goku's shout cracked through the void. If it carries even a part of her feelings, then I'm not going to treat it like an enemy. The gold around him flared in agreement. Whis dropped his gaze. Goku, you cannot protect both her and the universes. Goku's jaw clenched. Watch me. The gold behind him exploded outward in a soft, radiant wave. Not violent, not chaotic, but impossibly warm. The Grand Priest's eyes widened. Whis whispered, Impossible! Piccolo shielded himself from the brightness. Goku stood tall. The gold around him intensified, swirling like a halo. Show me this echo, he said. Let me talk to it. Let me try. I won't fight her, not even her shadow. The Grand Priest tightened his grip on his staff. Very well, Son Goku. A circle of symbols rotated around Goku like a celestial clock. If you truly wish to face her echo, light swallowed the void. Then I will bring it forth. A shape began forming in front of him. Small, golden, fragile, a tiny star. And from within it, a soft, trembling whisper. Goku! His own voice stiffened. Arama's echo was waking. The tiny star hovered before Goku like a trembling drop of dawn caught between worlds. Its glow was soft, not blinding, pulsing gently as though following the rhythm of a breath it did not fully possess. Every pulse felt like a heartbeat reaching toward him. Every flicker carried familiar warmth, Arama's warmth, but smaller, younger, almost vulnerable. Goku took a slow step forward. Piccolo felt the air change and instinctively reached out. Goku, careful! But the Saiyan only raised a hand to calm him, eyes locked on the golden sphere. I'm okay, Piccolo. His voice was barely above a whisper. She won't hurt me. The Grand Priest disagreed. This is not her. It is a fragment built from your resonance and her memory. It may not understand restraint. But the star didn't move like a threat. If anything, it recoiled slightly, as though afraid of its own existence. Then, a voice, soft and unsure. Goku! His breath caught. It wasn't Arama's full voice. Hers was layered and ancient, a symphony of creation. This sounded like a single note from that symphony, fragile and incomplete, as if the star itself were learning how to speak. Goku knelt slowly so his eyes were level with it. Yeah, I'm here. The star brightened at his voice, trembling like a child hearing a parent for the first time. Whis swallowed hard. It recognizes you. That means the resonance is deeper than expected. The Grand Priest's grip tightened around his staff. Its consciousness is forming around him. This is dangerous.
But Goku shook his head. To him, the star didn't feel dangerous. It felt familiar, painfully familiar. Are you scared? He asked softly. The light pulsed weakly. Alone. The word struck him harder than any blow ever had. He reached out, not touching, but just extending his hand in a gesture of comfort. The star drifted closer, hovering above his palm as if drawn to a warmth older than either of them could remember. Piccolo watched, baffled. It's responding to emotion. Yes. Whis exhaled slowly, because it is an echo of emotion. The Grand Priest descended slightly, eyes narrowing with a complex blend of calculation and sorrow. Goku, you must not become attached to this echo. But it's scared. It is not alive, the Grand Priest said firmly. The star pulsed again. Goku, don't go. Goku's heart clenched. I'm not leaving.
Whis stepped forward. Goku, you must understand. The more comfort you give it, the stronger it becomes. Good. Then maybe it won't feel so alone. The Grand Priest's voice sharpened. You misunderstand. The more it grows, the more your link to Arima deepens. And the deeper that link becomes, the closer she comes to awakening fully. Goku didn't look away from the star. Then maybe she should. Whis flinched. Goku! Goku stood, the star drifting beside him like a small sun orbiting its source. You haven't even tried to talk to her. Not really. All you've done is fear her. The Grand Priest's eyes flashed. I do not fear her. I fear what her nature would do to creation. What about what creation did to her? Goku shot back. Silence. Piccolo's jaw tightened. Whis' eyes lowered. The Grand Priest's expression shifted, just slightly, into something pained. Goku took a deep breath, calming himself. The golden aura around him responded gently, like a heartbeat syncing with his breathing. He turned his attention back to the small star. Why are you here? He asked softly. The star flickered. Couldn't reach you. Its glow dimmed like a candle shrinking against wind. Hurts. Alone. Goku closed his eyes, fighting the ache spreading through him. You don't have to be alone anymore. I'm right here. The star brightened, trembling with emotion. The Grand Priest finally spoke, voice low. This is precisely why this method is forbidden. You do not understand what you are binding yourself to. Goku met his gaze. Maybe you don't understand what she feels. A cold stillness fell. Whis stepped between them quickly. Arguing won't help. He looked at Goku. We must at least test whether this echo is stable or if it is the beginning of a conduit. A conduit to what? Piccolo asked. Whis hesitated. To her. The star posed again, more urgently this time. Goku! Help! Goku's fist tightened. He faced the Grand Priest. What do I need to do to stabilize her? The Grand Priest's expression darkened. You must separate your ki from her resonance. The echo cannot survive the separation. Goku's breath caught. You're saying I have to destroy it? It is not alive, the Grand Priest repeated. But the star trembled and whispered, barely audible. Don't leave me. Goku's heart broke. No, his voice was adamant. I'm not destroying her. Not even a fragment. The Grand Priest stepped forward. Goku, you must, for the sake of everything. Goku stepped back, shielding the star with his body. There has to be another way. Goku, Whis warned. No, Goku shouted, aura flaring. If she trusted me with even a piece of her light, then I'm not betraying that trust. I'm not losing her again. The star flared with sudden intensity, a pulse of pure emotion. Piccolo staggered back. What the? Whis raised his staff in alarm. Goku, her echo is synchronizing with your heart rate. Golden energy surged violently around them. The seam between realms shuddered, not opening, not closing, trying to form a bridge. The Grand Priest's eyes widened with genuine fear. Stop this! Goku, stop! But it was too late. The star flared, expanding, a small sun becoming a radiant sphere, and Goku felt something impossible. Another heartbeat. Not his. Not mortal. Not divine. Something echoing in him. Goku. A whisper. A longing. A presence awakening. Arima's echo was becoming a voice. A real one. The small golden sphere swelled, expanding like a tiny sun struggling to be born. It pulsed with a soft but growing tremor, each wave of light resonating with Goku's heartbeat until their rhythms merged into a single, unified pulse. Piccolo stepped back, shielding his eyes. This energy, it's nothing like before. Whis lifted his staff, aura sharp with alarm. Goku, the echo is awakening faster than anticipated. Goku, if you do not sever the link now, it may fuse with you permanently. Goku didn't budge. I told you, I'm not hurting her. The Grand Priest descended slowly, his expression composed, yet heavy with something ancient, regret perhaps, or dread. Son Goku, this is not about harming her. This is about protecting your existence. Every second you let that echo grow, you risk becoming a vessel. Goku clenched his fists. A vessel for what? The Grand Priest hesitated, just long enough for fear to slip into the silence between beats. For her return. The golden sphere pulsed again, not violently, not aggressively, but desperately. Goku. This time the voice was clearer, not a rima, but close enough to make his chest tighten. Goku took a trembling breath. If she's reaching for me, how can I turn my back on her? Whis floated closer, voice almost pleading. Goku, you cannot save everyone. She is not a person you can rescue. She is a concept that could erase the very fabric of the world you love. Goku's jaw tightened. You keep saying that, but none of you have even tried to understand her. Whis flinched. The Grand Priest's gaze dimmed. Piccolo stared in disbelief. He had never heard Goku speak with this kind of quiet fury.
Goku stepped forward, kneeling before the trembling star. He spoke softly. Hey, it's okay. I'm right here. You're not alone. The star steadied, then brightened, then shaped itself. The light condensed into a small floating wisp, like a child made of stardust. Vague, fragile features began to form, but never solid. More suggestion than shape, more glow than substance. Yet its presence felt unmistakably alive. It reached toward him with a tiny hand of light. Goku froze, breath catching. Piccolo whispered, Goku, it's trying to touch you. Whis shook his head. No, it's trying to merge. The Grand Priest slammed the base of his staff into the void. Stop! The whisper coiled violently, flickering with fear as the realm shook under the command. Goku snapped up at the Grand Priest, anger flashing in his golden eyes. She's scared. Stop treating her like a weapon. She is a weapon, the Grand Priest replied softly. A weapon born from the first harmony. A force that cannot exist in a universe that thrives on conflict. You must choose, Goku, her echo or creation. Goku looked at the wisp again. Its tiny light flickered weakly. Don't leave. The voice carried such loneliness, such trembling need, that Goku felt his heart fracture. He whispered, I'm not leaving you. The wisp reached out again. Whis lifted his staff. Goku, stop! The wisp touched his chest. Goku gasped, his aura igniting in a burst of gold. The void vibrated, warping with the force of the resonance. Piccolo staggered back. What's happening to him? Whis' eyes widened in horror. The link! It's irreversible now! Golden light poured from Goku's chest like sunlight breaking through stone. His aura spiraled upward, a pillar of gold, tearing through the emptiness, shaking the world of void with a soundless roar. Goku felt it. The echo wasn't merging into him. It was sinking with him. Like a heartbeat sinking with another heartbeat. Like two stars orbiting each other. Like a bond older than his Saiyan body. The Grand Priest's voice thundered across the void. This must be broken. He raised his staff, energy crackling, reality bending around his power. Goku's eyes snapped open. Two golden irises stared back at him, but one of them wasn't his own. A second consciousness brushed against his, fragile, glowing, trembling. Don't let them hurt me.
Goku's aura exploded with a shockwave that blasted everyone backward. Piccolo rolled across the tiles. Whis raised a barrier barely holding. The Grand Priest anchored himself with raw cosmic force. Goku stood, eyes blazing gold, hair flickering with radiant light, a soft golden silhouette of the wisp hovering at his shoulder.
He was no longer alone inside himself. Goku spoke, voice echoing with two harmonics. "She's under my protection." The Grand Priest's face twisted with rare, visible anguish. "Goku, you do not understand what you have done." Goku stepped forward, gold and aura rippling around him like the gentle breath of a god waking from sleep. "I know exactly what I've done." His voice softened. "I didn't abandon her." The wisp pressed closer to his chest, warming. The Grand Priest lifted his staff, eyes trembling. "Then you have doomed us all." A ripple tore through the void, dark at its core, gold at its edge, as the universe itself reacted. Something ancient stirred in the cracks of reality, something warm and heartbroken and waking. Arima had felt the connection, and she was responding. The void did not merely shake, it screamed, silently, in the language of bending space and tearing time. The world of void, once perfectly neutral and still, rippled like a disturbed reflection. Lines of invisible force carved across the emptiness, and for the first time since its creation, the arena of gods felt unstable. Goku felt it first in his bones, not as ki, not as pressure, as a wrongness. The little golden wisp at his shoulder trembled, its fragile body of light pressing tighter against him, seeking shelter. Her presence, small and echo-like as it was, vibrated in rhythm with the disturbance. "Whis," Piccolo rasped, bracing himself as the ground beneath them twisted. "What is this?" Whis's eyes were locked on the empty sky, his hand clenched around his staff. The seal is straining. Her response is no longer confined to Goku's soul. The Grand Priest looked upward too, and in that gaze there was something Goku had never seen before, genuine dread. Fine cracks of gold began to vein across the black firmament of the void, thin at first, faint as hairline fractures, but each second they deepened, widened, brightened, until the sky above looked like glass breaking under the weight of a rising sun. "This is impossible," Whis whispered. "She shouldn't be able to breach from her side." "She is not breaching," the Grand Priest said quietly. "She is reaching." The difference made the air heavier. Goku swallowed, throat dry. "Is this her?" The little golden wisp pressed closer to his neck, tiny fingers of light clutching his shoulder. "She's coming." The whisper was not Arima's full voice, but it carried a shard of her certainty. A low hum filled the void, not sound, but vibration. The gods of other universes, wherever they were, felt it in their chests. Kaioshin clutched their hearts. Beerus jolted awake from uneasy rest. Even Zeno paused, mid-play, tiny eyes blinking, as if something far beyond his understanding had brushed against his small, omnipotent existence. In the sky of the world of void, the cracks converged. A single point formed at their center, a bright, blinding point of gold. The Grand Priest's voice thundered across the realm. "All of you, stand back!" Piccolo dragged himself away. Even Whis retreated a few paces. Only Goku remained near the epicenter, unable or unwilling to move, his golden aura flickering like a candle in a storm. He felt her before he saw her. Not the echo, not the memory. Her. Warmth poured through the cracks like sunlight breaking through the ocean. It wasn't ki, wasn't divine energy. It was the raw intent of existence filtered through indescribable gentleness. And then it broke through. At the center of the fractured sky, something pushed out from the other side of the seal. Not a face, not a silhouette, a hand. A single, slender hand made of golden light reaching through the splintered fabric of reality. It moved with agonizing slowness, as though every millimeter forward defied 1,000 laws at once. Whis' knees nearly buckled. No, 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 no! Piccolo could only stare, mind blank. That's... The Grand Priest's staff thrummed with furious energy. She cannot be allowed to cross! But Goku didn't hear their panic. He heard only the silence around that hand. It was not a fist, not a claw, not a weapon. It was open, reaching outward, fingers spread slightly, hesitant as if afraid of what it might touch. Goku's breath shook. Arima! The hand stilled. Then, impossibly, it turned, just a little, as if searching for the source of his voice. The little wisp at his shoulder shivered with joy and fear all at once. Mother! The words slipped out of it like a breath it couldn't control. The golden hand trembled. Goku felt a wave of emotion crash through him, so strong it nearly dropped him to his knees. Sorrow, relief, guilt, hope, all wrapped around a single crushing truth. She felt him. Through the seal, through the echo, through the universe that tried to forget her. The Grand Priest rose into the air, placing himself between Goku and the hand. Arima, you cannot cross! The hand paused. For a heartbeat, nothing moved. Then a warmth spread from it, radiating across the void like a soft wind. Goku felt it touch his skin, his heart, his memories. It was the same warmth from before, when she had spoken to him in the realm before creation. But now it was here, real, touching reality. The cracks in the sky began to widen, golden light leaking out in soft streams. If she forces more of herself through, Whis shouted, the barrier will collapse. The universes will be drawn back into her origin state. Goku clenched his fists. What does that mean? It means, the Grand Priest answered, eyes fixed on the hand, that everything will stop being what it is and become what she remembers. The hand extended a little further, fingers inches past the fractured veil, reaching, not for the Grand Priest, not for Whis. For Goku. He felt it. Every instinct screamed, every part of him recognized that reaching hand. The little wisp pressed its forehead of light into his neck. Please, touch her. She's hurting. Goku's eyes burned. He took a step forward. Goku! Whis shouted. Stop! The Grand Priest's staff flared, symbols rotating like spinning suns, barriers layering upon barriers. You must not touch her. Physical contact will bind you to her fully. Goku's voice shook. She's not trying to destroy anything. She's trying to reach her child. You are not her child, the Grand Priest said bitterly. You are the spark she let go, the spark that learned to live without her. If you go back, everything you are burns away. The hand remained outstretched, gently, patiently, tragically. Goku stood between terror and longing, between the god's fear and a mother's impossible reach. The gold in his eyes deepened, his aura softened around him like a halo. I'm not going back, he whispered. I'm not giving myself up. I'm just letting her know she's not alone. The hand was right there now, close enough to touch. His fingers trembled as he lifted his arm. Piccolo held his breath. Whis almost dropped his staff. The Grand Priest's eyes widened, not with anger, not with power, but with an emotion no mortal or god had ever seen in him. Fear. Because Goku wasn't transforming. He was remembering. The golden light rushed through him like a tide crashing back to shore. Images broke open in his mind, not visions, not illusions, but memories older than time. A lullaby sung before sound existed, a hand cradling light before matter was born, a warmth, brushing over him not as a body, but as essence, as purpose, as love. He fell to his knees, not from pain, from recognition. The wisp at his shoulder merged into his chest, dissolving into a brilliant streak of light. It wasn't dying, it was going home. Goku felt her emotions flood through him. Relief, love, longing, and an ache that could break a universe.
The entire void began to glow as if responding to his awakening resonance. Piccolo whispered, "This is Goku?" Whis stepped back in disbelief. "No, this is the spark she gave him before creation, awakening." The Grand Priest raised his staff, but it trembled in his hand. "Son Goku, stop! Do not let her essence bind with your ki!" But Goku didn't hear him anymore. The golden hand through the seal pulsed gently, as though caressing his cheek from across eternity. And for the first time, Goku heard her fully. Not an echo, not a whisper, not a memory, a voice. Warm, soft, older than existence, breaking with emotion. "My star, you've returned!" Goku gasped. His aura erupted upward, a swirling pillar of gold that twisted through the void like a divine vortex. The tiles beneath him liquefied into streams of light. Space around him bent into concentric circles. His hair lifted in slow, weightless strands, not silver, not blue, not black, but gold, shimmering like sunlit silk. Not Super Saiyan gold, not Ultra Instinct silver. This was different, gentler, deeper, alive. Whis whispered, "He's entering an ascended form, not instinct, not Saiyan, something new." Piccolo stumbled back. "Golden instinct?" "No," Whis breathed. "That was only a fraction. This is beyond." The Grand Priest descended slowly, staring at Goku with an expression that felt like watching a star devour itself. This is her resonance fusing with his identity, a transformation born from recognition, not power. Goku rose to his feet, and when he opened his eyes, they were not glowing, they were shining. Twin suns. Golden instinct, awakened form. He exhaled, and the air around him rippled like soft rainfall. His aura didn't roar, it hummed, peaceful, harmonic, terrifying in its serenity. He looked up at the golden hand. Arima. Her hand trembled, responding to his voice. "My child, my spark, my wandering light." Every word wrapped around him like a mother pulling her lost child into an embrace. "Let me see you fully." The seal strained violently. Cracks erupted in 12 directions. The void threatened collapse. "Enough!" the Grand Priest roared, voice layered with cosmic command. "If she crosses, reality will revert. Everything will be returned to her original harmony." But Goku shook his head slowly. "I'm not letting her out," he said, voice calm, warm, impossibly steady. The Grand Priest froze. Goku extended a hand upward. His golden aura spiraled toward the fractured seal like threads of gentle sunlight. The golden hand stopped pushing through. Instead, it relaxed, softened. Its fingers slowly curled around the light from Goku's hand, not pulling him in, not breaking free, simply holding him. The Grand Priest whispered, shaken, "She stopped forcing the seal?" Whis swallowed. Because she trusts him. Goku's aura flickered softly. I remember now. A little. Not everything, but enough.
He looked up again. Arima, I can't come to you yet, and you can't come here, but I promise. His voice shook. When I'm strong enough to hold your world without breaking this one, I'll find you. A tremble ran through the golden hand, not desperation now, but acceptance. A single tear of light fell from the crack, a drop of pure creation warm enough to melt stars. It drifted down and dissolved against Goku's chest. The seal pulsed once, twice, then slowly closed, the golden hand retreating through the cracks as they stitched themselves shut. The void stilled. Silence swallowed everything. Goku stood alone in the empty arena, aura dimming into a soft glow. The Grand Priest lowered his staff. Whis' breath trembled. Piccolo exhaled shakily. Goku closed his eyes, a soft smile crossing his face. She knows I'm here. The golden light around him faded, but not completely. A faint shimmer remained, pulsing gently in his heart. The echo was gone. The hand was gone. Arima's presence faded back into the seal, but her warmth stayed. Inside him, the world of void had never truly been silent before. Not like this. After the golden crack sealed and Arima's hand withdrew beyond the veil, the realm fell into a hush so absolute it felt like the universe was holding its breath, afraid that even the smallest sound might bring her back through the veil. Goku stood at the center of the empty arena, chest rising slowly. The golden glow around him had dimmed to a faint shimmer. No wild aura, no raging light, just a steady, gentle pulse beneath his skin, like a quiet star at rest inside his heart. He could still feel her. Not as a voice now, not as an echo, as a presence. Not watching, not pulling, just there, existing with him. Piccolo approached carefully, bootsteps barely scraping the cracked tiles. Goku. Goku turned. His eyes were still faintly golden, but softer now, like sunset instead of sunrise. Yeah? You still you? Piccolo asked, studying him. Goku's answer came without hesitation. Yeah, I'm me. Piccolo's gaze dropped briefly to his chest. And her? Goku placed a hand over his heart. She's quiet, but she's listening. A small exhale. Piccolo didn't fully understand everything that had happened, but he knew one thing. Whatever Goku had brought back from that touch, it hadn't erased him. If anything, it had deepened him, like new lines carved into a familiar face. Whis floated nearby, unusually tense. His staff hovered by his side, but his eyes were not on Goku's aura, or posture, or ki. They were fixed on the Grand Priest. Because the Grand Priest had not moved. He stood in the air above them, eyes closed, staff held upright. The space around him remained strangely still, as if reality itself was waiting for his verdict. Father, Whis said carefully. The seal held. Goku did not break it. Arima remains confined. The Grand Priest opened his eyes. There was no relief in them.
Did you not feel it, Whis? He asked softly. Her hand did not break the seal, but her light moved through him. Whis hesitated. Yes, that is worse, the Grand Priest whispered. Goku frowned. I didn't let her out. I promised I wouldn't. I just let her know I'm here. And in doing so, the Grand Priest replied, you became the only bridge she has to this reality, the only stable conduit. His gaze locked onto Goku, calm, luminous, unbearably heavy. Goku now carries a direct channel between her memory and our existence. Goku felt the words sink in. You mean, I'm like a door? Not a door, the Grand Priest said. A path, one she may choose to walk when she grows desperate enough. Piccolo bristled. "You act like he let a monster in." The Grand Priest's eyes flicked toward him. "Monsters destroy. She completes. And completion is far more dangerous to a flawed world." Goku shook his head. "She doesn't want to erase anything. I felt it. She's tired, lonely. She just wanted to hold on to something." "And she chose you," the Grand Priest replied. "That is precisely the problem." With a slow, deliberate motion, he descended until his feet touched the fractured arena floor. The space around him trembled slightly with each step he took toward Goku. Piccolo subtly shifted position, moving just a fraction closer to Goku's side. Whis floated forward, interceding lightly. "Father, his will held. He did not submit to her. He made a choice to remain himself." The Grand Priest nodded. "Yes, and that choice is the only reason we still stand in a world of pieces instead of a single, quiet whole. For now." Goku narrowed his eyes. "What are you planning?" The Grand Priest stopped a few meters away from him. His staff shimmered. In its polished orb, reflections of universes flickered, tiny, fragile lights. "Son Goku," he said, voice gentle in a way that felt like a prelude to something cruel. "I have watched you change the fate of gods, mortals, and timelines. I have seen your will defy annihilation. I respect that will." He lifted his staff. "And that is why I must test it." The air thickened. Bending around the staff, symbols older than time spiraled down its shaft like falling stars. Goku's stance shifted instinctively, feet grounding, shoulders squaring. "Test it how?" Whis' face changed. "Father!" "You are now the sole bearer of her living resonance. If she ever decides to push through you, there will be no warning, no negotiation. Everything will end in a single, harmonious breath."
He raised the staff higher. "I cannot allow that possibility to exist unchallenged." Piccolo's eyes widened. "You're not—" "I am," the Grand Priest said quietly. "I am going to force that resonance to the surface. If you can resist it, if you can remain yourself in the face of her full calling, then perhaps there is a path forward." "And if I can't?" Goku asked. The Grand Priest's silence was answer enough. Whis moved in front of Goku, panic finally breaking through his composure. "Father, you risk accelerating her awakening. If you provoke the resonance too strongly—" "Step aside, Whis," the Grand Priest said. Whis didn't move. For a heartbeat, Angel and Father stood opposed. Goku watched them, then put a hand on Whis' arm. "It's okay." Whis turned to him, stunned. "Goku?" Goku smiled softly. "You said my will is strong, right? Let me prove it." The Grand Priest's eyes searched his face. "You would willingly risk becoming her vessel?" Goku shook his head. "No, I'm not risking becoming anything. I'm proving that I won't." Golden light flickered faintly in his eyes, like a quiet star refusing to dim. "If the universe really can't handle her, then it needs someone who can stand in the middle, between her and everything else." He lifted his chin. "I'll be that." Piccolo stared at him, a strange mix of anger and pride burning in his chest. "You idiot, you really mean that?" "Yeah," Goku said, smiling. "I do." The Grand Priest lowered his staff in front of him, then pointed its tip at Goku's heart. "In that case," he said, "prepare yourself." The air rippled. A deep, low hum began to vibrate within Goku's chest, the resonance of Arama's light awakening under pressure. His golden ki flickered. The warmth inside him stirred. Something vast rolled beneath his consciousness, like a sleeping sea forced toward the surface. Goku inhaled slowly, grounding himself. "I'm not giving in," he whispered. "Not to power, not to fear, not even to her." His hands clenched at his sides. He lifted his gaze to the Grand Priest.
Do what you have to do. The staff flashed, reality bent inward, and the test began. The Grand Priest's staff released no beam, no blast, no swirling arc of destruction. Instead, it emitted sound. A single note, soft, pure, higher than any mortal ear should comprehend. Yet Goku heard it. He felt it. The note threaded through his body like a needle of light, weaving into his ribs, his spine, his heartbeat. Every vein in him vibrated with it. His vision quivered, the ground beneath him blurred. Piccolo staggered backwards. What is that? Whis lowered his head. A resonance bell tone. It strikes the truth inside a being. All illusions, all masks, all false identities shatter. But Goku doesn't hide anything, Piccolo said, through clenched teeth. Whis trembled. That is what frightens me.
Goku fell to one knee, not from pain, from overwhelming clarity. His senses didn't expand, they inverted, folding inward until he could feel the subtle pulse of every memory he had ever lived. Fighting Raditz, meeting Gohan for the first time, looking up at the moon as a child, dying, being revived, holding Goten as a baby, sparring with Vegeta beneath a blood-red sky, laughing, starving, fighting, falling, rising. Every breath of his life beat through him at once. But beneath all of it, something else stirred. A breath not his own, a warmth not found in any memory, a voice not yet spoken. Arima. Goku clenched his jaw. I'm here. I'm me. Don't answer. Don't wake up, please. But the hum inside his chest swelled at the vibration of the priest's tone. Like a tide rising against a fragile wall, the Grand Priest slowly intensified the sound. Not louder, truer. The note became a chord, a harmonic convergence of celestial vibration. Creation trembled as the frequency deepened. The tiles beneath Goku cracked in concentric rings. Space bent, warping like a heat mirage. Whis cried out, "Father, he is not a vessel! If you keep pushing!" He must prove it. He must show that her call cannot sway him. If I ease now, it will only delay the danger. He will live every moment holding the risk of collapse. That is unacceptable. Piccolo shouted, "You're pushing him toward breaking!" "No," the Grand Priest said, without looking away. "I'm pushing him toward truth." The chord intensified. The warmth in Goku's chest surged upward, pressing against his throat, his mind, his soul. A whisper slipped through his consciousness. Not a word, a plea. "Beloved light, return." Goku slammed his fist into the ground. "No!" Golden instinct erupted around him, exploding outward in a violent plume of radiance. Wind tore across the void. Shards of tile flickered upward like weightless feathers. His hair burned brighter, golden strands lifting as if gravity had forgotten their name. His eyes became clear suns. "I'm not going anywhere," he growled. The whisper warmed again, gentle, aching. "But you are mine." Goku's breath hitched. She wasn't commanding. She wasn't consuming. She was lonely, desperate, a mother reaching through eternity for the child she lost. The echo pressed against him harder. His aura spasmed. His bones vibrated. His heart skipped. Whis rushed forward, but Piccolo grabbed him. "Don't! He asked for this." "Piccolo, if he falters!" "He won't." The Grand Priest extended his free hand, palm open. The chord sharpened into a clear, piercing harmony. It was beautiful enough to shatter the mind. Goku screamed, not from pain, but from the pressure of that beauty. The warmth in his chest burst open like a sunflower under a sun too close. Arima's presence surged through his consciousness, filling him with light so vast he thought his body would split open.
For a heartbeat, Goku saw through her eyes. He saw the first spark, the forming of existence, the shaping of angels, the stillness before Zeno, the silence after creation, the loneliness that followed. her loneliness. Goku's breath trembled. "Arima, stop! Please!" The warmth dimmed. Confused. Sad. "My star, why do you suffer? Let me hold you." Goku clenched his fists. "Because this world needs me, and I need them, and I'm not leaving them for anyone." His aura roared. Golden instinct expanded outward in a spiraling helix, fracturing the sound around him. The resonance bell tone buckled under the weight of his will. The Grand Priest's eyes widened. Impossible! Goku roared upward, voice cracking with power and conviction. "Arima, I won't let you take me!" The warmth flickered. Not harmed, not rejected, but stunned. The Grand Priest saw it too. His staff vibrated in his grip. "He's overpowering her resonance by force of identity alone," Whis whispered, almost in awe. "He is choosing, and the universe is listening." The warmth in Goku's chest dimmed further, retreating gently like a tide pulling back from the shore. Her final whisper came quiet and steady. "Then I will wait for you." And she fell silent. Goku collapsed to both knees, panting, the golden aura dimming to a faint shimmer around him. The Grand Priest lowered his staff. The cord dissipated into nothing. Slowly, he floated to the ground in front of Goku. Whis rushed forward, worry breaking through his composure. Piccolo exhaled shakily. The Grand Priest looked down at Goku, not with superiority, but something close to reverence. "You have resisted a call that predates creation," he said softly. "You chose the universe over divinity. You chose yourself over destiny." Goku pushed himself to his feet, breath heavy, but eyes bright. "I told you, I'm me, and that's not changing." The Grand Priest bowed his head, deeply, slowly, a gesture he had given no one in countless eons. "Son Goku, you have passed." Before Whis or Piccolo could speak, a tremor rippled through the void. Soft, cold. The Grand Priest stiffened. Whis's eyes widened. Piccolo felt his stomach drop. Goku turned. From the sealed crack in the void, a thin line of golden light leaked out. But this time, it wasn't reaching for him. It was trembling, like a frightened heartbeat, like a warning. Something was waking on the other side. Something not Arima. Something older. The light leaking from the sealed crack in the void was wrong. It wasn't warm like Arima's, wasn't soft, wasn't sorrowful. It was thin, precise, empty of emotion, yet heavy with intention. A colorless gold that didn't feel like dawn or fire or key. It felt like a rule.
Piccolo felt it before he saw it. His chest tightened, breath catching like he'd been dropped into freezing water. "This doesn't feel like her," he muttered. "This is different." Whis's eyes shot to the fracture. His fingers went numb around his staff. "No," he whispered, voice cracking. "It can't be." The Grand Priest's face lost all color. Goku turned toward the sealed sky, brow furrowing. "That isn't Arima." The crack pulsed, once gently. No shuddering, no violent ripping, just a small, deliberate widening. Reality parted with disturbing ease, like the universe itself was afraid to resist. From the opening, a silhouette stepped through. Small, round-headed, short-limbed, childlike. For one disorienting moment, Goku thought it was Zeno. The same simplistic shape, the same tiny body, but then his eyes adjusted, and the differences slipped in like knives. This one was taller. Not much, but enough to feel wrong. Its head was slightly elongated, its proportions subtly closer to a young teenager than a child.
The patterns on its body weren't bright and playful, but muted, washed-out colors like faded echoes of something once vivid. Its robe-like garment was darker, more solemn, falling in heavier folds, and its eyes. Zeno's eyes were simple dots of innocent chaos. This one's eyes were the same shape, but deep. The black was not flat. It was layered, like looking into a well with no bottom. It blinked once, slowly. The void shivered. Wiss's knees almost buckled. "No, Father, tell me that isn't—" The Grand Priest's voice came out quiet and hollow. The first king. He lowered his head with a reverence that bordered on terror. The original Zeno. The figure tilted his head slightly, observing the empty void, the cracked floor, the glowing residue still clinging to Goku's skin. It didn't radiate ki, didn't radiate malice, didn't radiate anything. It simply was, and the cosmos curled inward around its existence. Piccolo couldn't breathe. That little thing? Whis spoke softly, never taking his eyes off the figure. Once, before there were 12 universes, before even the angels had form, there was only one king, one mind holding all things, too powerful to balance, too curious to limit. He was sealed when this reality was shaped. The first Zeno took a small step forward. No ripple, no stomp. Reality shifted around his foot, accepting the motion as law. Goku stared, heart pounding. Why is he here? The Grand Priest swallowed, because the seal moved when Arima touched it, and he was behind it, deeper than even she. The first Zeno looked down at his hands as if seeing them for the first time in a very long time. He flexed his fingers slowly, studying the motion with a faint, distant interest. Then he looked up, straight at Goku. Those bottomless, child-shaped eyes met his spine locked. For a heartbeat, there was nothing. Then, a sound like a bell rung underwater echoed inside Goku's mind.
Not words. Recognition. The first Zeno's small mouth moved. His voice was soft, higher-pitched, almost sweet, but layered, like a choir of millions whispering in unison at the edge of hearing. "You are loud," he said. Goku blinked. "Huh?" The first Zeno tilted his head, studying him with blank curiosity. "You shine like an old light, like something I erased once." The words made Whis flinch. The Grand Priest's grip tightened on his staff. Piccolo whispered, "Erased. Like the universes he destroyed?" "No," the Grand Priest said quietly. "Worse. The first king did not erase universes. He erased possibilities." Goku's fists clenched. "I'm not something to erase." Those black wells of eyes blinked again. "I see 2 songs inside you," the first Zeno murmured, taking another step closer. "One is small and noisy, Goku, mortal, fun. The other," his eyes deepened, "is her." The air turned to glass. Goku felt the warmth in his chest flicker, not in fear, but in alertness. Arima's presence stirred, sensing something she had known long before seals and gods. The first king. Goku exhaled slowly. "Yeah, she's here, but she's staying where she is. I'm not letting anyone use her, or me." The first Zeno blinked slowly, like a child hearing a strange rule. "Use?" he echoed. "No, I do not use things." He lifted one small hand. "I decide them." The world dimmed. Colors drained from the void, leaving only grayscale behind, as if saturation was a luxury spared only to him. The golden shimmer in Goku's aura began to fade, bleeding away like watercolor in rain. Goku gritted his teeth. "What are you doing?" "Testing," the first Zeno said calmly.
I want to see which song is louder, hers or yours." Whis tried to intervene, hurling his staff forward with divine speed. "Stop!" The first Zeno didn't even look at him. He lifted his other hand a fraction of an inch. Whis froze mid-flight, not restrained by ki, not held by force. His existence had just stopped obeying the idea of motion. The angel hung in the air like a paused frame. Piccolo stared in raw horror. He stopped Whis. The Grand Priest's expression contorted with something that might have been pain. Time does not apply to him. Neither does space. He is not playing with reality. He is the decision of it. The first Zeno kept his gaze on Goku, small head tilting again. "Little star, sing for me." The warmth in Goku's chest erupted, not by choice, but in reaction. Arama's light flared within him, golden resonance rising like a hymn fighting its way out of a closed throat. His aura burst back into color, the grayscale cracking under the force of his will. Goku roared, hair flaring, eyes blazing like twin suns. "I'm not your toy!" The first Zeno watched, emotionless. The floor shattered under his feet, divine pressure warped around him, but still, the small being only tilted his head again.
"Interesting," he murmured. The first Zeno continued, "You refused her call, but will you refuse mine?" His eyes deepened, and for a moment Goku felt something brush the core of his being. Not warmth, not love, not hate. Just an invitation to stop existing as himself and become something else, something decided. Goku's breath stuttered. Arima's warmth flared, pushing back against the intrusion. The Grand Priest took a single step forward, voice tremoring with the weight of intervening in something he had once sworn never to face again. "First King," he said carefully, "leave him. He is not yours." The first Zeno blinked, slowly. "I was here before him, before you, before all of this." His small arm swept vaguely, indicating everything. "Everything is mine." His gaze fixed on Goku again. "And I want to see what happens when a mortal carries a piece of the first light." The void tightened. Goku felt the pressure of two impossibilities inside him. Arima's waiting warmth, the first King's cold curiosity. He stood between them. One calling him home. One deciding if he deserved to exist. He clenched his fists, golden aura flaring. "I'm Son Goku, and I'm not bowing to either of you." The first Zeno's eyes glittered faintly. "Then show me." Reality bent. The test of the first King began. The first King did not rush Goku. He did not flare his aura. He did not roar with power. He simply stepped forward. One quiet step. The world folded. The tiles beneath Goku's feet bent upward in a soft spiral, curling like petals following the first King's movement. Goku shot back instinctively, pushing against the distortion with golden instinct, only to feel the air thicken like honey around him. A second step. The void dimmed, shrinking to a narrow corridor of light directly between them. Every direction that wasn't the first Zeno became irrelevant. A third step. The Grand Priest bowed his head, shoulders lowering, ancient dread. "It has begun." Goku clenched his fists. "Then I'm meeting him head on." He burst forward, aura exploding into a burst of gold, but the first King only raised one hand. Palm open, fingers relaxed, movement slow and graceful, like brushing dust off a sleeve. Goku's charge folded in on itself. His trajectory bent sideways, body twisting through space like a line of ink smearing across a page. He slammed into the ground hard enough to crater it, dust blasting outward. Goku rolled, planting a hand to steady himself. He's redirecting my momentum before I even move. The first king didn't respond. He only tilted his head slightly, observing Goku with quiet curiosity. Then he lifted his hand again, this time just 2 fingers. The air rippled. Goku barely had a moment to cross his arms as an invisible force struck him like a tidal wave. His feet uprooted from the ground as he was hurled backward. He skidded across the arena, golden sparks flickering off him. But he caught himself.
Not because he was strong, but because he refused the command. "No!" Goku growled. "Aura bursting. I'm not letting you decide what happens." Golden instinct flared, twisting the invisible force, pushing back against it. Goku shoved his foot into the ground, anchoring himself, aura whipping violently. The first king watched him resist with mild fascination, almost admiration. He lowered his hand. A pause. Then, he raised his foot and stepped down. Goku felt the universe tilt. Space dipped, like a ship struck by a massive, unseen wave. The floor twisted, the horizon bent inward, and Goku was dragged toward the king as though pulled by the gravity of a collapsing star. Goku fought back, aura shredding through the warp space. He burst upward, flipping into the air, gathering ki into his palms. He thrust forward, a wave of pure golden light firing like a comet. But the first Zeno simply breathed. A soft exhale. The attack dissolved mid-flight, unwoven at the molecular level, becoming a harmless shimmer of fading light. Piccolo felt his heart drop. He erased it by breathing. Whis whispered, "Attacks don't strike him, not unless he allows them." Goku didn't stop. He lunged again, fists blazing, each strike reinforced by golden instinct resonance. But the first king only raised his arm in a slow, almost ceremonial motion. Every punch Goku threw curved away at the last instant, his fists missing by millimeters, as if reality simply would not accept the idea that he could be touched. "Stand," the first Zeno murmured. Goku froze mid-strike, not immobilized, but commanded. He broke free instantly, aura bursting outward. "I told you, I don't take orders." The king blinked, calm, unhurried. He raised his hand again and swept it gently through the air. A simple gesture, almost lazy. The world fractured. A line cut through the void, space bending like fabric tearing in silence. A wave of crushing pressure rushed toward Goku, the kind of force that could erase universes without leaving dust. Goku crossed his arms just in time as the wave hit him. It lifted him off his feet and hurled him across the arena. His body crashed through the ground, skidding through broken tiles. Blood trailed from his lip. His breath shook. But he stood. Slowly. Painfully. He stood. Goku wiped his mouth. "You hit harder than you look." The first king blinked. "This is not hitting." He lowered his hand. "This is restraint." Goku's heart hammered. "If that's restraint, why fight me at all?" The first king took one more quiet step. Goku felt the weight of an entire forgotten era in that single motion. "To see," the first Zeno whispered, "if the mortal who carries her light can be more than her echo." Goku tightened his fists. "I'm not her echo." The first king's eyes deepened, like looking into a well of erased worlds. "Show me." Goku roared, aura blasting outward, the golden warmth of Arima's resonance swirling around him in spirals of shimmering light.
The king lowered his stance, not aggressive, but regal, a judge preparing to give a sentence.
Goku shot forward. The first Zeno raised his hand. Their powers collided. The universe trembled. The moment their powers collided, the universe flinched. Goku's golden aura crashed against the first king's elegant, effortless authority. Will against command, radiance against void, life against decision. The shock wave didn't roar outward. It sank inward, collapsing into a tight sphere of trembling light around them, as if the world had curled its fingers into a fist. Goku gritted his teeth, pushing forward, muscles trembling. The first Zeno raised a single hand. His palm glowed with a pale, empty gold. Not warmth, not ki, not life. Just certainty. He spoke softly. Stop. The word rippled through Goku's bones like a divine decree. His aura flickered. His breath caught. The command wasn't spoken to his body. It was spoken to reality. And reality obeyed. Goku froze mid-strike, suspended in the air, aura cracking like breaking glass. The first Zeno stepped closer with slow, regal rhythm, each step a quiet verdict. You shine, the first king murmured. But that shine is borrowed, a memory, a fragment of something that once dared to rival me. He reached out one small, childlike hand, placing 2 fingers directly over Goku's heart. The warmth inside Goku recoiled, not in fear, in warning. The first king's voice deepened faintly. There it is, her light, the first defiance. Goku managed to grind out a single breath. Don't touch her. The first Zeno tilted his head. She is not alive. She is not awake. She is a spark, a tool she once used to shape existence. And you, he pressed harder, are carrying a piece of her unfinished will. Goku's aura shattered completely. His limbs fell limp. His ki stuttered, collapsing inward. The warm resonance flickered like a candle in a storm. Piccolo shouted something. Whis strained against frozen time, face filled with helpless panic. But none of it reached Goku. All he could feel was the pressure pushing into him, the king's intention peeling away layers of his identity like old paint. You will unravel, the first Zeno said. And the piece she hid in you will return to silence. Goku gasped. The warmth inside him dimmed. The universe started to fade into white noise. His heartbeat slowed. 1 beat. Another. Barely a third. The first king whispered, "Be still." And Goku's heart stopped. The world fell silent. Light drained from his eyes. His aura dissolved into dust. His body sagged forward, suspended only by the king's touch. Whis's tears floated frozen in the air. Piccolo's scream curled into nothing. The grand priest closed his eyes. So it ends, the first Zeno said softly. A mortal cannot hold the first light. He turned, lowering his hand, Goku's lifeless body drifting like a lantern going dark. But then, in the stillness where breath had ceased, in the silence between thoughts, in the emptiness where all things return, something stirred.
Not ki, not will, not memory. A much older warmth, a small pulse, then another, a heartbeat made of gold. Then a soft voice inside him. My star, why are you quiet? Goku's fingers twitched. The king stopped walking. A second pulse, stronger, warmer. Did you fall? Then rise. I am here. Light bloomed beneath Goku's skin, not silver, not blue, not Super Saiyan gold,
A deeper gold, a purer gold, a gold that felt like the first sunrise the universe ever saw. The first king turned fully, eyes narrowing for the first time. Goku's body straightened slowly, not by force, by awakening. His eyes opened. Twin, radiant spirals of golden white light swirled within them, deeper and calmer than ultra instinct. Not instinct, not reaction, not survival. Understanding. His hair rose in weightless strands, turning a shimmering gold laced with soft white edges like halos caught in motion. His aura didn't explode outward. It unfolded. Gentle, silent, infinite. Wherever it touched, the warped void mended, colors returning, time resuming, gravity realigning. The world didn't fear this power. It recognized it. Golden Instinct 3. The first king exhaled. This is not her. This is... He hesitated. You. Goku looked down at his own hands glowing with soft, living light. It didn't feel forced, didn't feel angry, didn't feel divine. It felt like kindness, like purpose, like truth. He whispered, voice calm and steady. I'm not her echo. I'm not your decision. I'm me. He stepped forward, and reality didn't resist. It moved with him. The first king raised his hand in royal judgment, preparing another absolute decree. But Goku's aura brushed the command aside like passing wind. The king's eyes widened. Goku continued walking. When you stopped my heart, she reached out, not to take me, not to save me. He stepped closer. She reminded me who I am. The first king took a step back, not out of fear, but because the universe itself pushed him away from Goku's advance. Goku lifted his hand, a simple gesture, soft, open, like offering, not attacking. The first king's robes fluttered in the radiant breeze. Golden instinct isn't her creation. It's what happens when her light meets my will. He placed his glowing palm gently against the first king's small chest. No explosion, no violence, just a pulse of harmonious light. The first king froze. His eyes quivered, the depths trembling as if touched by an emotion he had forgotten millions of eons ago. Warm, he whispered. Yeah, that's life. The first king's form flickered once, not erased, not broken, just moved. Returned deeper into the seal where he belonged, the universe folding around him like a closing book. His final whisper echoed across the void. You shine brighter than she did. Then he was gone. The seal closed, the light faded. Goku stood alone, glowing softly. Whis collapsed to the tiles. Piccolo exhaled his shaking laugh. The grand priest bowed his head. Goku looked at his glowing hand, trembling with awe. Inside his chest, Ariyama's warmth whispered one last time. My star, you are becoming. The golden aura dimmed, but the light stayed. The stars burned quietly, as if remembering his will.